While watching your team at the Emirates? Well, this season you actually can, and not just there. You can do it at Anfield, Goodison Park, Stamford Bridge and Old Trafford too. But hold on, I hear you cry. Isn't drinking alcohol in the stands at Premier League games illegal? You're right, for the men's game it still is, but the Women's Super League is doing something different. And here's how we got there. Back in the 1980s, football had a serious image problem. The sport was plagued by violence, pitch invasions and beer-fuelled chaos. From fan riots at the 1980 Scottish Cup final to the Heysel disaster years later, things were unsafe and the consequences were disastrous. Then in 1985, Margaret Thatcher's government stepped in. They introduced the Sporting Events Control of Alcohol Act, banning alcohol in view of the pitch across England and Wales. Since then, many fans and clubs have called for the law to be relaxed, especially since other sports don't face the same restrictions. If you're popping down to watch the Red Roses roar at Twickenham, feel free to grab a pint on the way to your seat. Wandering down to Lord's to catch some boundary bashing? Fill your boots with G&Ts. But if you were hoping to cheers your club's promotion to the Premier League with a Prosecco in hand from pitchside, sorry, it'll have to be tea or Bovril. In 2021, it looked like things might finally change. The government commissioned the Crouch Report, a fan-led review into football governance. One recommendation was to allow League Two and National League clubs to lift the alcohol ban to boost matchday revenue. But nothing came of it. Authorities still weren't convinced that fans could be trusted. And then in January 2025, something did change. The Women's Championship, now called the WSL2, launched a trial allowing fans to drink in the stands. The reasoning? Well, fans at women's matches tend to behave differently. Less aggression, more family-friendly vibes. Now, the women's game is raising the bar, literally. Select WSL and WSL2 stadiums are allowing fans to drink alcohol in view of the pitch. It's been a landmark move, showing growing trust in fans and recognising that women's football is building its own culture. So could the men's game be the next to leave the 1980s behind? Well, maybe, if fans can prove they can handle a pint without pitching it at someone. Yeah, don't hold your breath. Until then, it's Bovril all around. Cheers to that.
Very good morning to you. Coming around 4 minutes past 6 o'clock, Tuesday, May the 26th, and an absolutely glorious morning here in London. I'm sure it is where you are as well. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Buy a used car and get a free 2-year service plan plus an extra £500 when you part exchange. Shop the upgrade event today. And I'm guessing Ally McCoist is absolutely glorious in Glasgow, is it?
Do you know something, Jeff? Absolutely beautiful. What a day we had yesterday. And we've got the same again today, mate. Good. How are you?
I'm better than you by the sounds of it.
I'm a wee bit croaky.
A wee bit?
No. It's a bit croaky.
Oh, not only are you a wee bit croaky,
I'm fine. And I'm ready to go.
All right, good. Well, let's hope we can sort the line out during the course of the morning, because you were just breaking up there as well. Don't take this the wrong way, but, you know, Kermit the Frog sounds less croaky than you, mate. I'll tell you that. I haven't seen you for ages. I mean, how have you been, apart from the voice? So, world tours again?
Not too bad. Quite busy. We're over we had a good trip to Istanbul, obviously, for the villa, which was brilliant. Gabby was there. and he was in at his unbearable best. Obviously, Villa were flying, couple of great goals, good performance. And then I'm off to watch Arsenal in Budapest, Jeff, at the weekend. So watched all the football at the weekend as well. With some good stuff, obviously. Bad news for West Ham, which I don't have any doubt we'll get into in greater depth. But yeah, it looks like up here, Lon Shanklin signed for Rangers.
Yeah, not before time, eh? From your point of view.
No. I would have thought probably too late. Not too late. But it could have been a couple of years early. He's a good player, definitely a good player. And he's probably he's something that Rangers will definitely need. He's a player Rangers definitely need, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Coisty, you're still breaking up. We will try and sort it out. Just a quick word.
I bet I'm not now, though.
Yeah, no, you're okay now. Yeah. What about Martin O'Neill? Is he going to stay on at Celtic?
Sure. Do you know something, Jeff? I'm actually not sure. I actually didn't think there was any chance that he would, you know. But I'm just thinking it might appeal to him a little bit. There's definitely a bit of Rangers as well. There's a rebuild needed, Jeff. And he even said himself right at the end of the season he felt tired. But to be honest with you, the quieter it gets, I don't know why, I think the more he might fancy it, you know.
Yeah. Interesting that Robbie Keane's left Ferencváros, isn't it? You put two and two together. And I just wondered, and I asked the question yesterday, could it be a Martin O'Neill, Robbie Keane dream
Double
team,
act.
if you like? Yeah.
I tell you what, I know a lot of Celtic fans would fancy that, Jeff. I mean, I spoke to Robbie actually last season a couple of times. Obviously, I saw his team out there. He's done a great job. He obviously had that successful period in Israel as well. So I think there's a lot of Celtic fans would love to see it. The other name that was getting bandied about was obviously Craig Bellamy, who's another ex-Celtic player. But could we see the double act of Keane and O'Neill? I know Sean Maloney's there as well with Martin, so it'll be interesting. But I definitely think there's a lot of work to be done at both sides.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Just want to say before we move on as well, well done to Notts County yesterday. Beating Salford in the playoff final, in League One. They were fantastically well supported yesterday as well. And Mark has been very quickly on the text. He said, thanks for tipping Stockport in the League One playoffs, Jeff. I knew it was a good sign for Bolton. How right you are. And,
comfortable.
It was very comfortable. And what a great goal from Sam Dolby in that. I think was the goal that made it 3-1. Fantastic overhead kick. Yeah. Absolutely lit up the final. But look, back to the Premier League, as you rightly predicted. West Ham's relegation to the Championship for the first time since 2012 confirmed. Here's how talkSPORT reacted to that news.
Tottenham Hotspur 1, Everton 0. Tottenham survived, West Ham are relegated.
Did they do enough this season, stay in the Premier League? I don't think they did.
It's going to be fun. We've got Millwall, we've got Charlton. What's not to love about that?
Fans at West Ham have to take some responsibility.
It's going to be so difficult to get that Championship squad in alignment to maintain the challenge.
You can't have a go at the players for a lack of effort and desire.
Managers come and go, players come and go, but the constant emanates very much from David Sullivan.
No certainty at the minute about bouncing straight back. And if we do go down again, and there's a few people that think we will see League One before we see the Premier League again, I don't know what to expect.
Well, that's a scary thought, isn't it, then? League One before the Premier League against... I mean, it is a question, isn't it, you know, Coisty? Are they going to be an Ipswich or a Leicester City?
I think it will depend a lot as well. The players they keep, Jeff, to be honest with you. Obviously, question marks against one or two of the playing staff, whether they would be there next year. I think, do you know what I'd do, Jeff? I'd do everything I could to keep the manager, to tell you the truth. And I know there's a lot of the West Ham boys maybe don't think that way. I think he would be the man to get them back up. We know how difficult that Championship is. It's really, really difficult. And not only can you get lost in it, but you're right, you can go the other way as well. I just think it's obviously a savage blow for them, Jeff. But I just think a wee bit of stability with the manager, and if they can keep one or two, it would be their best interest to get back up immediately.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's taken Wolves out of the Championship.
Yeah.
His win rate at West Ham is worse than Julian Lopetegui's. But you can't keep changing your manager all the time, can you?
That's my point.
A former West Ham and England defender, Stuart Pearce, joined Sam Matterface and Alex Crook yesterday. He thinks getting rid of Nuno would be a terrible idea for the Hammers.
I'm quite shocked, if I'm being quite honest with you. I think the fact that he come through the door, I don't think too many fingers were pointed at him with West Ham's relegation yesterday. If I was West Ham, you look at a manager of his class and you think they should be hanging on to him. What's gone on? I take it there was crisis talks this morning, so we gather. And I don't know how much of that he's instigated that in regard to how much have we got financially for me to spend next year? Can we keep the better players? Those conversations are behind closed doors. Whether that suits him, if he thinks he can get a better job, I don't know.
I mean, if you read a lot of the background stuff at West Ham, Coisty, there's a lot of stories about Nuno falling out with players and with his staff as well. And that is slightly worrying if they decide to keep him.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, there'll be a lot of taken into account, and everything will be taken into account. His relationship, and they'll look at his, effectively the job he's done, the period he's been there. But I just think, I mean, those problems aside, and I'm not brushing them under the carpet because, as I mentioned, they all add up to the big picture. I just think, in terms of a little bit of stability, I actually think they've did one or two poor performances. I mean, the one prior to was it the game at Newcastle? They were poor, Jeff.
Yeah, against Brentford as well before that. Which, I mean, they weren't particularly poor at Brentford, but they were unfortunate. But you can't go there. That was a big moment for them going there and getting battered by Brentford.
The way I would look at that, Jeff, I thought they were poor at Newcastle, a little bit unlucky at Brentford. Yeah. I don't think that was a 3. I think that finished 3 as well. Yeah. And I thought they played a lot better than that. But those two aside, I thought they were in a lot of the games. Some good performances. Lost a late goal against Manchester United. It was there. They got a draw against Manchester City. Some good results. And I just think there was positive. There were positives there. I don't know what you think yourself, mate. I definitely think the damage was done before Nuno came, in terms of, the points and the relegation. But it'll be interesting. Do they go and change again?
I mean, look, their issue has been, and you might be right. Look, his record in the early weeks at West Ham was pretty dreadful. But on the other hand, he was presented with a group of players, and the recruitment, you have to say, again, was diabolically bad. And that's carried on, And I know they brought in Tati Castellanos, and I think he's been a relative success. But Pablo certainly hasn't, and they paid, £20 million for him?
Yeah. We boy in the middle of the park. Fernandes, there has been 1 or 2 pluses. There's no doubt about that.
Fernandes is he's shone during the course of the season, to be honest.
No, absolutely. But I don't think there's any disagreeing with me. I think the negatives in terms of the recruitment outweigh the positives. And that only leads to one thing, and that's kind of failure. But I mean, it'd be interesting. I don't really know what the general consensus is with the West Ham fans, because they are a difficult lot to please. They want to play a certain way, a brand of football. I mean, and I think Danny made a good point there, with Scott Parker. I mean, I've got nothing against Scott Parker at all, Jeff. But if you're asking me what I thought the better of the two options would be right now, I would stick with Nuno.
Yeah. Interesting. Obviously, other names in the frame: Slaven Bilic and Gary O'Neill, ex-Hammer himself. Look, West Ham fans, we'd like to hear from you this morning. Is Nuno really the one to blame here? Could another managerial change backfire? If West Ham do decide to go down that route, who would you like? 03717 223344. Come and give us a call. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to the back pages and some potentially interesting news for Derby County fans.
Thomas Tuchel, when it comes to naming these squads, he always gives us a headline, doesn't he? Do you remember when we were broadcasting from Ascot and he left out Jude Bellingham? Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold has been omitted, so there is always a talking point. But I think if we'd sat down yesterday, before obviously we started getting all the news yesterday afternoon, and put our 26-man squad down, there's probably, 4 names in there that maybe we wouldn't have expected?
3 or 4, maybe, yeah.
None of us would have had Ivan Toney. I mean, not Ivan Toney wouldn't have had himself by the sound of things.
The fact he's at the embassy this morning tells you everything.
Yeah. As far as the back four is concerned, I think it will be James, Konsa, Gay and O'Reilly to start the first game of the tournament. I think we're pretty solid on that. So therefore, you can afford to take a couple of wild cards, a couple of slightly different players that fill gaps later on in the tournament. John Stones, we mentioned lack of minutes. We can't expect him to play 10 games or 8 games in 4.5 weeks. It's not viable bearing the amount of minutes that he's got under his belt. But class is permanent, and Thomas Tuchel likes to have him around. If you remember last year when we were in Girona, he wasn't fit. But he brought him into the camp even though he wasn't part of the squad because he wants him around. Why is that? Just explain to us what it is about him that he really likes.
Well, these boys have got to spend 7 weeks together, so you've got to have the chemistry right within the group. If you've got some great influences within that group, it's brilliant, just to facilitate everyone. More importantly, I, as a manager, never had to worry about number 1 to 11. They looked after themselves. You take them to a major tournament.
This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Can't beat a bit of Fleetwood Mac, can you, on a Tuesday morning? Why are we playing it? I can't believe this, Coisty. Stevie.
Don't tell me.
Go on.
75.
Oh, if only. She's 78, Stevie Nicks.
Oh, no.
Incredible. One of the most distinctive voices in pop, rock, whatever you want to call it. You got
probably one of the greatest albums of all time as well, Jeff.
Oh, rumours, unquestionably. Yeah. You know what? I mean, she had a sort of... she had a solo career which was incredibly successful and people never talk about it. I saw this week, Belladonna was her first solo album. It was ranked by Billboard as number 7 in the 500 top albums of all time. Wow, that is going some. Yeah. What was your favourite Fleetwood Mac song?
I know, probably The Chain, for obvious reasons as well. I just love the going back to the Formula 1 and all that. Did she marry Lindsay Buckingham? They were an item.
No, she didn't. Because the Fleetwood Mac's, not just the music's great, the story is great.
I know.
As well. It's like a Jilly Cooper novel.
I know that.
She was with Lindsay Buckingham for 4 or 5 years, and then she ended, or they split up. And then within a couple of years, she was with Mick Fleetwood.
Yeah.
But of course, the issue was Mick Fleetwood was married to somebody else at the time. So it was awfully complicated.
And who was on it? It was Christine McVie, wasn't it?
Christine McVie, was brilliant. Also had a fantastic voice as well. They were blessed with a couple of absolutely brilliant
tremendous
singers. Yeah, she is 78 today.
Oh, dear me.
A birthday girl. Talking of birthday girls, time for a quick coffee break and a look at the back pages with Costa Express.
The Costa Coffee Break on talkSPORT, sponsored by Costa Express. Quality coffee, quality day.
And Olivia Bazaglo, who is not 70 yet, is with us.
Good morning.
Morning, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Morning, Ali.
Should we ask? Should we ask or not?
I'm 32 today.
32?
Yeah.
God,
I'm only happy that songs.
Thanks.
You really don't.
How old do I look?
27.
Yeah, I was
take
thinking
that.
mid to late 20s.
I will take that. Yeah, I'm 32 today.
Hey, well,
Gosh.
considering you've got to get out of bed at ridiculous o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
it's really good effort.
What Jeff's trying to say, Olivia, is you seem to be handling that side of it a lot better than him and I.
Not today, I'm not. I got up, I missed my alarm, Ali. I didn't set one because I was so tired last night, I fell straight asleep. Woke up at 5 to 4 and I meant to leave my house at 3:30.
No.
So it was a quick 5-minute up and out and get an Uber.
If it makes you feel any better, Costi and I are both 32 as well.
Right, on the back pages, as you were talking about, a lot of the headlines are West Ham. Back page of the Sun, a hammer horror. Nuno set to go regardless, which is similar in the Mail. Nuno set for West Ham departure as Scott Parker is waiting in the wings. And then on the back page of The Guardian, it's Hammers set for change with Nuno likely to leave. With Scott Parker or Gary O'Neill, who is obviously, of course, manager of Strasbourg currently. But what I want to talk to you guys mainly is about, on the back page of The Times, Saudi boxing chief wants to buy Derby. So this is the man behind Saudi Arabia's takeover of boxing. This is by Matt Lawton and Tom Kershaw in The Times. Turki Al-Sheikh, who was obviously an advisor in Saudi Arabia's royal court. He is the head of General Entertainment Authority as well. Now, we all know what he's done with boxing, with Riyadh season. He's turned that in, he's just transformed boxing to what it is. Now he wants to reportedly buy Derby County. Jeff, do you think this is a good thing for? I mean, Derby County fans will probably be sat at home going, "Oh, please make this happen."
I don't know. I'm sure they're rubbing their hands together. Look, they've got a pretty good owner at the moment, I think, in David Clowes, who you saved the club a few years ago, paying off their debts and putting money in as well, and had a really good season last season. And I can see why anyone would be interested, because I think it's a club with massive potential, and I think it's a potential Premier League club, and I think if they were to get there, they could flourish as well. Saudi money? Don't know. Ask Newcastle fans what they think of theirs.
Yeah, I feel like, Ali, what are your thoughts? I mean, like Jeff saying, for Derby fans, I'm sure they'll be very excited by these reports. Yeah. But I mean, for the wider football.
Well, I think Jeff makes a good point. I also think the one thing you would say, if you're a Derby supporter, you would be rubbing your hands, you'd be excited, because the one thing he has done in terms of the boxing, he's got us all the big fights. We used to sit and watch. I know I'm going down a different avenue, and it's a completely different sport, but we all enjoy our boxing, and we used to moan about not seeing the big fights. But the one thing he has done, he's got that all organised. He's got that into shape, and we're seeing some great fights now. So if he wanted to tip his toe in football, the answer is I don't really know. I'll have to be brutally honest with you. But if you're a Derby fan, I think you'd be pretty excited at the prospect.
I mean, I think that the thing is, you just can't tell, because you can't tell how hands-on he would want to be for a start. Which, if you're running Derby County Football Club, the last thing you want really is an owner who comes in, puts his money in, but then wants to be too hands-on, if you like. I mean, they finished 8th. They only just missed the playoffs last season, but I get the temptation.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Manchester United fan, actually. But he has dipped into football a little bit. I mean, Almeria in Spain are the club that he did invest in, but he stepped away from that in a couple of years ago. So
which begs the question: why did he step away?
Yeah, and maybe that's because that was the time where boxing was really on the rise, and that was his main priority. But now maybe what he's done with boxing, can he step away and maybe focus on football?
Two different worlds. I just don't know. Look, he could be a massive success. He could be wonderful for Derby, or it may not be.
Yeah. We will find out if these reports are in fact true. I also want to get your thoughts on Roy Keane versus Bruno Fernandes, which seems to be going on at the moment. On the back page of the Mirror, Bruno blasts liar Keane, and on the back page of the Star, Bruno not keen on lies. Okay, so this is where Roy Keane on the Overlap has come out and said about Bruno Fernandes, because he had an interview after the game on the weekend, and had a go at basically Bruno Fernandes for saying that he should have not been focused on individual records and should have been focused on the team. But what has actually happened is his words have been a little bit misconstrued, and what Bruno Fernandes was actually saying in his post-match interview was, I should have passed a few times when I shot. But Keane thought he got it the other way around, so I thought he was focusing on. So it's all got a little bit messy. But now, obviously, Bruno has bounced back on the Diary of a CEO podcast and has come back and calling Roy Keane a liar. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
Brave man to call Roy Keane a liar. Roy likes an opinion. Likes an opinion that makes a headline as well. As it happens, I just happen to think that Bruno Fernandes was fantastic this season. He led from the front. We all know about his assists, weighed in with a few goals as well, but he's led Manchester United to a Champions League finish when most people, not everyone, didn't think that was possible.
Yep.
So, look, it's just a bit of newspaper
storm in a teacup,
and fro, isn't it? That's all it is, yeah.
Interestingly, we just want to get your sort of on this whole players, seeing what people say about them and seeing what people write about them. And just quickly, this is what Gabby Agbonlahor had to say on a player yesterday on talkSPORT Breakfast. We were talking about Spurs and their staying up on the last day. And he had this to say about Vicario.
These players should have been walking around the pitch on their hands and knees saying sorry to the fans. And Vicario, I'm watching the game. I'm listening to the commentary with Gary Neville. You're spot on. This goalkeeper has done nothing in a Spurs shirt. Been dreadful. And there's a clip of him offering out Seamus Coleman. Vicario, we've seen you punch, mate. You can't punch the ball. You're not going to be able to punch anybody. So we know you can't fight. So have some respect for a Premier League legend in Seamus Coleman. But that summed up Vicario yesterday. All over the sideline, trying to be a coach and jumping on the manager's back when they scored the first goal. Paulinho, I think, is an embarrassment to that football club. I'll get rid of him.
So that was Gabby talking yesterday on talkSPORT Breakfast. And talkSPORT put it on their Instagram. And what happened? Vicario commented saying, scary. And Gabby then replied, calling him a bluffer. So, Ali, what are your thoughts on players coming back and hitting back at what pundits are saying about them?
No, I think that they're entitled to their opinion, aren't they? If the pundit's entitled to give their opinion, they're entitled to have a right to reply. But I'm not too sure I've been getting involved in it. I think they've got far bigger issues and other things to concentrate on. I understand sometimes players needs or feel the right to defend themselves. They should always have that and have the right to do that. But I just think sometimes you wouldn't want to be getting yourself involved in what can turn into a petty argument. When I'm not saying you should be above that, but you've got more important things to worry about. Listen, there's no difference to a pundit having an opinion than there is a punter having an opinion, and we've had it since football began. That will not change. I'm with Jeff on the Fernandes thing. I think Fernandes has been brilliant this season. I really do. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. I'm a wee bit surprised he got himself involved in that kind of stuff. And I'm a little bit surprised Vicario is getting himself involved in that kind of stuff with Gabby. But absolutely, I would defend their right to reply. But I think sometimes there's no real need for them to get themselves involved.
Look, it's all petty stuff, isn't it? But let's be brutally honest about it. Spurs fans have been desperate to see some passion from their players all through the season. Okay, he wasn't playing at the weekend, but at least they saw plenty of passion from him on the touchline. As to his goalkeeping abilities, well, that might be... It'll be interesting to see whether Spurs decide to try and upgrade next season, or indeed if the rumours about Vicario want to leave the club anyway are true. But look, only he knows that. Just quickly on this, Griff, we talk about birthdays and ages. Griff from Kings Lynn says, Jeff, you and Ali are both 32. Twice. Hey, Griff, you know what? I'll take that, mate. And so would Coisty, I think, as well. So.
No, I'm defending myself. I've got the right to reply. No, wrong, Griff.
That was thanks to our friends at Costa Express. Thanks very much indeed, Olivia. Coming up, we'll turn our attention back to West Ham and how detrimental relegation will be for the club from a financial perspective.
The Costa Coffee Break on talkSPORT, sponsored by Costa Express. Quality coffee, quality day.
Look at some of the attackers, Palmer and Foden left at home. The two omissions probably that define the talking points of the squad.
But we all expected it. I've been saying it for the last 2 months, and Manchester City fans and Chelsea fans are like, no, you can't leave them out. It's Cole Palmer, it's Foden. We know what Palmer can do in big games. But when you're not performing in that position where we got so much talent, the likes of Rodgers, Eze, look at Bowen, unfortunate not to be in the squad. Gibbs White can't get in the squad. So I don't think it's a shock that Foden and Palmer don't make it.
One of the things that he has said, Thomas Tuchel, is that he wasn't going to take a batch of number 10s. He was going to take players that played in specific positions in that front line. He has only taken 3 of them. He couldn't take 5. He didn't want to take Foden and Palmer and then crowbar them into the team out of position. Is that the right call?
I think so, because we saw, going back to the last European Championships, Gareth Southgate tried to do that with Foden in particular, and he ended up having a nightmare of a tournament. Palmer was used only sparingly. So, yeah, I understand the argument. I would have taken one more in that number 10 position, because obviously you can play Bellingham deeper if needed as well. And I think if you're talking about taking one more, Gabby's dead right on form. Foden has been off it for a long time. Palmer has had an injury-afflicted season and hasn't really been the Cole Palmer of old. Morgan Gibbs-White would have been the one for me. You look at his numbers, his best ever goal-scoring season. He's carried Forest away from relegation danger into a major European semi-final. So I think of all the players that have been left out, he'll be concerned this morning. I was just thinking there, actually, can we lend a few of these to Scotland? They'd appreciate it.
Unnecessary? Would you say unnecessary stoking the fires with?
He is. I don't know whether that's an insult to England or Scotland at this moment in time. We'll dig deeper later.
Morgan Gibbs-White, the joint most goal contributions of any English player in the Premier League this season, didn't make the squad. 17 goals, Europa League semi-finalists. Come up with some big moments as well when Forest have needed it most. As a Forest man yourself, does that irk you a little bit?
I've looked at Gibbs-White's performances over the last 2 or 3 years. When he plays well, Forest play well. He does have dips in form, to be fair, and it's probably cost managers their job on occasion, to be quite honest with you. But the bottom line is, at this moment in time, if you turn around and said who is really bang on form...
Every spring, sports fans in Europe come together to celebrate arguably rugby's biggest annual tournament, the Six Nations. But why is it the home nations, plus France and Italy, and no one else? It all started back in 1871 when Scotland beat England in the very first international rugby match. A few years later, when they could field a team, Wales decided they'd host England and an idea was thought up. With Ireland keen, they formed the Home International Championship, which ran from 1883. In 1910, France was allowed to join, as they were developing into a serious rugby nation, and thus the Five Nations was born. France had an interesting history with the championship. They were actually booted out for paying their players in 1931, when the home nations were keen to keep it amateur. After World War II, though, France were let back in, but it remained a closed shop for more than 50 years. And when another country was let in, it was only really because the Five Nations hand had been forced. Italy was developing into a serious contender, beating Scotland, France and Ireland twice in the same year, meaning in 1999 officials got together and said yes to Italy and it became the Six Nations. So what changes, if any, come next? 7 nations? 8? A promotion and relegation system? Or should we leave it alone and let it remain the great rugby tradition it's become?
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. It's the perfect time to upgrade your car. Get 2 years free servicing when you buy a used car in the upgrade event. Check it out online. They can't find anyone to play Doctor Who.
Can't believe that.
Can't believe that. You know what they should do, Coisty? They just need to go back in time and they can find one of their previous actors. I mean, maybe get David Tennant back, someone like that, you know?
Oh, yeah. Who was your favourite? I go back to John Pertwee. Remember John Pertwee?
Yeah, I do. Look, I'm not a Doctor Who fan, never have been. I never will be. I think it's more than run its course. Are you a Doctor Who fan?
No, I'm not actually, to be brutally honest with you.
Yeah.
It's not really my cup of tea, the old Doctor
Not at
Who.
all.
Much more of a Star Trek man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would go for Star Trek ahead of Doctor Who. Yeah, for sure. Right, it is time for this.
Get ready to get the ultimate football fan winning feeling with talkSPORT Win.
Right, we're into the final week with the 2026 FIFA World Cup almost here. Thanks to Adidas, the tournament's official matchboard supplier. talkSPORT is sending you and a friend to Dallas, Texas.
Certainly are, mate, and it could be England's first game against Croatia, which is on June the 17th, with return flights, accommodation, spending money, tickets, and the official Adidas match ball, the Trionda, all thrown in. Ready to get that winning feeling? Well, here's how you can enter.
So for your chance to win, just head to talksportwin.com or you can text WIN, that's just the word WIN, W-I-N, to 83338. Text and online entries cost £2.50 plus your standard network rate. Or you can call 0343 418 7260. Entries have to be in by 4 o'clock next Monday afternoon. That's when you need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus, UK residents only. This is a talkSPORT promotion. Full T's and C's at talksportwin.com. So for your chance to win, just a reminder, text the word WIN to 83338 and do it as soon as you can. Right, West Ham's 14-year stay in the Premier League came to an end on Sunday as they were relegated to the Championship. But what effect is this going to have on the club financially? To help answer that, delighted to say the football finance expert Kieran Maguire joins us now. Morning, Kieran.
Good morning, Kieran.
Morning, guys.
Hey, so Kieran, look, a lot of headlines before the weekend. West Ham face financial crisis if relegated. Is that the case?
It's certainly going to be very challenging. In the last set of accounts, they generated £228 million of revenue. I think that's likely to take a hit of around about 100 million. So that therefore there's a big gap. The wage bill is significant. Yeah, the average wage is over £70,000 a week. I think many players will have relegation clauses. I think the thing which worries me most of all is that West Ham have spent a lot of money in the transfer market, and they owed £196 million in unpaid transfer fees at the end of 2025. Now, those instalments have to be paid on a year-by-year basis, and you do wonder where their cash is to pay them over the course of the next 12 months, unless the owners put in some cash themselves.
Kieran, just on that, you mentioned that a lot of the players would have relegation clauses. Would that have been the same for Tottenham, do you think?
Yes, I mean, there was a report in one of the papers that Daniel Levy had inserted relegation clauses. It's actually quite unusual for clubs at the elite end of the game. This was a bit of sort of insurance as far as Daniel Levy was concerned. I think the claim was that they were up to 50%. I guess most players, if they join a club of the stature of Spurs, and you could also argue West Ham as well, would just assume that they'd always be in the Premier League. So they just say, well, yeah, it might happen, but I don't think it is. So it will have an impact upon certainly the playing staff, but equally, as far as West Ham is concerned, they do employ an awful lot of people, and there's potentially jobs on the line here as well. You don't need as many people in marketing and communications and so on when you're playing Cardiff and Lincoln on a Tuesday night. That's just economics.
Look, don't rub it in, Kieran. I mean, I take it then. Obviously, there are some plus points. Look, lower salaries. Lower rent for the stadium, parachute payment. Does that not come near balancing the cost of relegation?
Well, no, because even when they were in the Premier League, they were losing £100 million a year. The sale of Declan Rice in 23-24, that papered over the cracks to a certain extent as far as their compliance with PSR was concerned, and that was a fantastic windfall for the club for a magnificent football player. But if they're losing £2 million a week in the Premier League, then even if they've got wage savings and so on, it is going to be very challenging. If you take a look at the annual report of the club, the owners admitted that relegation was a problem. And secondly, that it would need funding. Now, if you're a bank manager, why would you lend to West Ham? I mean, they do have an existing overdraft, but that's due for repaying at the end of July this year. So I think the owners, and David Sullivan does have wealth, Daniel Kretinsky does have wealth. I guess they would have to be the main source of funding. On top of course, player sales, and West Ham do have some players who would be coveted by other Premier League clubs as well as those on the continent.
Who makes that decision effectively then, Kieran, right at the end of weighing up the gamble of getting money in for players or clearly lessening your chances of automatic return to the top flight by getting rid of those very players?
Well, I think it's a really valid question, Ali, because West Ham have lost some people in the boardroom over the course of the past few weeks, and that did seem a very strange piece of timing by the club. But ultimately, this has got to come down to David Sullivan. It looks like he's going to increase his stake in the club, as will Daniel Kretinsky. It looks like they're going to buy the shares from the late David Gold's estate. And I think they're going to become sort of joint equal owners. They really need to find the cash themselves to provide the plug in the club's finances, because it will be significant, and it's going to be their decision. Do we put in more ourselves, or do we sell more players?
Yeah. I don't think too many Brighton fans are going to be too upset about not going to the London Stadium next season, are you, Kieran?
I'd love the Bowling Ground as a fan. Going there was absolutely magnificent. The London Stadium, there's no atmosphere, there's no sense of home, there's no sense of belonging or community there. It's a shame. I think I've got relatives who are West Ham fans, and some of them have stopped going because they say it's not part of us anymore.
Yeah, my son Matt's a Brighton fan, and he's the black sheep of the family, obviously. He's a Brighton fan, and he said it's his least favourite away day of the entire season, going to the London Stadium. Well, he doesn't have to worry about that for the time being, at least. Kieran, thanks very much.
Thanks, Kieran. All the best.
Cheers, guys.
Football finance expert Kieran Maguire there. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to what's going on at Southampton and why we haven't heard anything yet from the club regarding the future of Tonder Eckert.
Someone deal with it!
Not like that. Not like that.
We don't put the ball out. We never get it out of play. Ref, you've got to blow up. Don't foul.
There we go.
Yes! Come on! Come on, Abs! Come on! Come on! Get in there! We're in the Premier League, son! Come on! We've done it!
Well done, Jay.
We've done it! Get in! All you mugs that wanted us down!
What they have put
All you
us
mugs
through.
wanted us down!
What they have put
We've done it! Come on!
Well done. Abs, well done. Jay, before you go, I know you're doing the phone show. Just tell us. I mean, relief, right? Because it looked like at one point, Jay, you weren't getting out of this. How much credit does Deserby deserve? Because he's come in, and I can see how emotional you are. But this could have been a disaster, couldn't it?
Oh, it could have been an absolute disaster. Tottenham can't be in the Championship, right? We cannot be in the Championship. It's been a disaster season. So much has gone wrong. Deadwood all over the park. We have got to just completely change everything. Get rid of the Deadwood. Get rid of all these players who have been absolutely garbage. We've got the man in charge, Roberto De Zerbi. He is a top manager. Roberto De Zerbi will do things at this football club. Just let him have the reins and let him get on. But he's got to get rid of Richarlison, Moani, all of them. Get rid of them. They're crap. They're absolutely crap. And we find a way to do it. And I have to say a massive thanks to Aston Villa for not turning up on that day and gifting us 3 points. Because that's the one that kept us up.
We're forever.
Come on, the Spurs!
Forever in debt.
Come on!
Jay, is there... I know the players are starting the place out for most of the season, but these lads here in the last 6 to 8 weeks, when they've needed to, they've also shown a little bit of fight, haven't they?
Yeah, some of them. Some of them. Some of them.
The reason we've stayed up is because of De Zerbi, not because of them. I couldn't...
Right.
Honestly, could you care less if you ever saw any of them ever again?
No, I don't
Couldn't
care.
care less.
I would have a fire sale. Fire sale.
Yeah.
The whole squad. Anyone who wants out, gone. Get rid.
Yeah.
Don't want to see any of them.
But again, Jay, this comes from upstairs now.
Oh,
They've
he's got to
start
go as well. Joanne Lange, get rid of him.
What
The
about-
first thing they should do after the full-time whistle is
Announce
sack
it.
him.
Announce him.
Sack him.
Announce Vinay. Get rid of them. They should be first thing done tomorrow morning. Come on, son.
Jay, how many receipts have you got to give? How many receipts have you got in the back pocket?
Oh, I've got a few, mate. But you know what? It's embarrassing.
Yeah, you can't celebrate too much.
You want to celebrate, but
It's relief, isn't it?
it's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast, 6:49, Tuesday, May the 26th. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Some of the headlines this Tuesday morning. Nuno Espirito Santo set to be sacked by West Ham. talkSPORT understands. Barcelona will hold fresh talks with Manchester United before the World Cup to try and sign Marcus Rashford. And Sunderland, as we know after Sunday, back in Europe for the first time in 53 years. What a story that is. A win over Chelsea, enough to secure 7th place and a spot in the Europa League. Sunderland legend Kevin Ball joined the breakfast show yesterday, and he admitted to getting emotional at the full-time whistle.
It was quite weird yesterday that I'm in the stand with my grandson watching the game. Obviously I was working yesterday as an ambassador, but also as a supporter. And when it came up on the board that European football was achieved, I think I got a little bit emotional. Yeah. The grandson looked up at me and he went, "Are you crying, Grandad?" I went, "No, son, it was that flare. It's got a bit of smoke in Granddad's eye." You know what I mean? And it was brilliant. It was the most surreal moment at the football club for a long, long time, thinking of everything the fans and the club have been through and the people that have worked for the club have been through. Like I say, the first time for over 50 years.
Coisty, an old club of yours, of course, Sunderland. Did you get a bit emotional?
Ah, brilliant, mate. Honest to God. I can't tell you. Really thrilled. You think about that season, man, and the job that Reggie Labree's done. It's been fantastic. And I fancied them, Jeff. I fancied them to beat Chelsea at the weekend. I really did. I wasn't sure whether it was going to be enough, but I really fancied them. But I can't lie to you. I'm as thrilled as I am, and I'm delighted. I'm just a wee bit concerned as well, Jeff, now at the extra games. You know, yes, of course, as it's a dream come true to get back into Europe, and it's a great, wonderful, wonderful achievement, and correctly it should be celebrated. But I just hope they can get one or two in and strengthen the squad, because, as you and I both know, it does make the season an awful lot longer. But what a season, you think about it. I mean, the goalkeeper, Robin Roofs, I mean, all the way out, Brian Broby, you know, the Lafay, they've just been different class.
Oh, absolutely. Mukiele has been one of the players of the season as far as
tremendous.
Siddiqui,
yes.
You know, I mean, so many, so good. Look, I understand that the squad's going to be stretched. I'm sure they're going to go out and strengthen. By the way, it's worth remembering, they achieved this. They achieved 7th, despite losing, what was it, 7 players to the African Cup of Nations?
Right.
Something like that as well for a significant time. Those nights, those European nights at the stadium are like, a bit like at St James's Park, they're going to be absolutely electric. And there's a lovely piece online at the moment. Luke O'Nien in the dressing room after the Chelsea win, just standing, talking to the players, thanking them for coming in and helping make his dream a reality, you know, because 12 years ago he was playing non-league football.
Correct.
And now he's in the Premier League and hopefully for him in the Europa League as well.
What a story, isn't it?
Ah, brilliant. Well, look, it has been a championship season that no one will ever forget, especially if you're a Southampton fan.
Southampton have been expelled from Saturday's Championship playoff final.
It was the only way that it was ever going to move forward. I didn't see a scenario where Southampton are in the playoff final, because actively they've cheated, been caught.
It is cheating, but I just don't think kicking him out the playoff final is the right thing to do.
If he has sanctioned that and Sonderecker has allowed that to happen under his watch knowingly, then he's a disgrace and he needs to go.
It's just not how you do things. It's not how you keep the integrity of the game.
In some ways, they're looking at it and going, we have to make a firm statement to a club that's going to say this will never happen again.
I think it's really over the top. No one actually thought that they would get thrown out. I didn't think it was that big a deal.
I predicted this would happen. I knew this would happen. It had to happen. How can you let a team that has cheated the rules go to Wembley? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, that was a week ago. Sonderecker's still in position as manager, despite reports that he would be sacked for authorising Spygate. Players reportedly could take legal action against the club, though I suspect only those who don't want to be at the club any longer. And the FA are conducting an investigation which could lead to further charges and bans. So what's next for Southampton? You know what, Coisty? I think most people felt that by now Sonderecker would have been sacked or would have resigned.
Absolutely.
But my feeling now is that the club want to keep him.
I don't disagree with that, because take the issue aside, which we can have a wee chat about in a couple of minutes, he certainly get that team playing heck of a well. I mean, absolutely fantastic, knocking the ball about, and the way they played, you would have to have a genuine sympathy for the players over what happened, and probably more so for the fans over what happened. But the one thing that's not up for debate, you know, they were there in merit in terms of the way they were playing. The football was excellent.
He's got a 62% win rate as Southampton
excellent
manager. I mean, you just don't find success rates like that.
No, so what does Southampton do now then, Jeff? I mean, do they... I mean, the actual ban, it was a tough one, Jeff. Really, really tough. As I said, my sympathies immediately go to the supporters and the players, to tell you the truth. You know, you think about... You know, supporters probably have paid travelling expenses, all that kind of stuff. So they must come to the forefront of your thoughts. At the same time, I didn't think there was anywhere else the EFL could go. Was it harsh? Yes. Was it fair? It was. I don't think there was anything else they could do. Jeff.
Yeah.
The EFL. I really don't think there was anything else to do. What kind of message, I don't know which one of the lads it was that said it, what kind of message would it have sent out if the punishment, hadn't been as harsh as it was? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it would have just told people that the EFL were weak.
Correct.
And they couldn't afford to do that, especially once Southampton put their hands up and said, look, we haven't just done this once.
Yes.
We've been multiple offenders. So I think you commit the crime, you do the time. And that is what's happened. But right now, I think that everyone at the club is just laying low. Just let this blow over a little. Of course it won't blow over completely. Next season, I guarantee you, every ground that Southampton go to, opposing fans are going to have the binoculars out, aren't they?
Yeah.
Every single one. But maybe Tonderecker, maybe we were a bit, I don't know whether we were too harsh. He's only 33 for a start, He's a very young man.
Yeah, and he's made a mistake, right?
He's made a mistake.
And we've all made mistakes.
Extensive mistake.
Yes. It's whether, I think you make a valid point. I just think, can he ride this storm out? Can he come out and say, look, we made a complete mess of it. I owe everybody an apology. Please accept it and let me attempt to go over this and make up for it next season. You're right, though. I mean, it's going to be a long season, no matter who's in charge, because wherever they go, the wind-ups will be there. And so they should be, by the way, because that's what football fans do. But at the same time, it is going a little bit quiet, mate. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, are they trying to let a little bit more water just sail right under that bridge before they say, look, he's made a mistake, he's going to apologise, and we want to keep him on?
I think so. And of course, what it meant was that Middlesbrough were in the playoff final, didn't lay a glove on Hull despite all the possession. And Ollie McBurney got the winning goal, Coisty, at the end of an up and down week, I think it's safe to say for him.
Oh, listen, mate. I thought I'd already been on when I was on last week. Did a couple of shows from Istanbul. I beg your pardon. Yeah, it was Istanbul. And I said he was extremely unlucky not to make the Scotland squad. I mean, I thought he should have been in the Scotland squad. I just think he's had a fantastic season. What did he end up? Was it 17 or 18, whatever it was?
Yeah, 18 league goals.
Important goals, really important goals. And there was something fitting about him knocking that in the 94th, 95th minute. And I sent him a wee message, Jeff. I was delighted for him, absolutely delighted for him. And I just want him to keep saying the right things, keep doing the right things, because the World Cup's still a wee bit away,
Absolutely.
And you never know what happens, mate.
No, you don't. And by the way, that was typical Ally McCoist. You can't remember where you were last week. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Manage your Travis Perkins trade account online at travisperkins.co.uk or via the Travis Perkins app.
Come on, you Spurs! Come on, you Spurs!
We'll be talking Spurs. What level of players can they attract this summer? Find out who was called a snob for saying they don't want to sign players from the Championship. And we'll talk Newcastle and how they can bounce back from a really disappointing season for them. That was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
We're gonna do it like we did last year.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Get free next day track delivery. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Let's get back to some calls. Go to Darren. He's a Spurs fan. All right, Daz?
All right, Daz. Hi.
How are you, Daz?
Relieved. I'm not celebrating like some of the fans that have come on from Spurs. I think they're ridiculous. The only thing I did when the whistle went, I turned to my mates who I go with every time, and we said we're relieved, and we walked out the stadium because we just had enough. And the way fans are behaving, and calling out Chelsea, that's ridiculous. We finished 17th. They finished
10th. You only won nothing.
Hang on a minute.
They won nothing, though.
So did we.
Yeah, exactly.
We won nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, but we're a disgrace, and so are they.
Yeah, but we are more of a disgrace. And the way Tottenham fans are behaving is ridiculous.
I agree with him.
Well, you will agree with him.
No, you're speaking. He's the first one that's phoned up talking any sense.
Dazza,
right?
It's a shocking season, but it's over. It's over. Season's over. We're up. Cheer up.
It's over. It's an embarrassment. What do you think people like Glenn Hoddle look when they look at that side?
I know. Well, they've got to sort it out, haven't they?
Legends of the club.
Well, they've got to sort it out, though, Daz, haven't they? Got to start again.
Yeah, they've got to sort it out, but there's no good when fans are turning around like we've won a cup. It's ridiculous.
The stayed-up trophy.
Good trophy, that, though, Daz.
The inaugural. Well done.
It's good trophy, that. The staying-up
Yeah,
cup.
it should be a toilet bowl. It should be a toilet bowl because that's what it was. It was toilet. It was. They should have stayed in the toilet where most of those players came from.
Holding up a toilet. Silver toilet.
That's a good trophy, that.
Holding that up a lot.
Get a picture of that.
Yeah. Someone will allow that.
Staying up trophy.
Someone will AI that and send it to us, mate.
Yeah. It's unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
Listen, Daz, enjoy it, mate. It's up. It's over. We can all relax now. Got the World Cup coming up.
He's the only one under a rock.
Just relax.
The only one. Only one that's got any. Only one that's got anything about him. Only Spurs fan today.
What football ground are you thinking of when someone says this?
Really tough place to go. Difficult place to go. Such a tough place to go.
It's a tough place to go at the moment.
It was a really difficult place to go, always.
But what are the toughest places to go, really? We've scoured the planet to find out. Forget a cold, wet Tuesday night in Stoke. Try playing in a blizzard 220 miles inside the Arctic Circle at the world's northernmost professional club. When Chelsea lost at Tromsø in Norway in the 97-98 Cup Winners' Cup, a massive snowstorm hit at half-time. These two boys and their brooms were absolutely no match for it. We're staying in Scandinavia for Scotland's toughest away day on a windswept cliff in the Faroe Islands. In Euro 2000 qualifying, Craig Brown's men were taken to fishing village Toftir. Kevin Gallagher called the pitch a cowfield and the wind like Pittodrie on a bad day. The Faroe Islands part-timers equalised in stoppage time, leading to these absolute scenes, and still one of Scotland's most embarrassing results.
Daft little ground, silly game.
But away trips don't come any tougher than a lung-busting schlep up the Andes to face Bolivia in La Paz. But now the Bolivians have taken home advantage to another level. The country's highest city, El Alto, 4,100 metres above sea level. Grass doesn't even grow up here. Bolivia have not lost here yet. The longest unbeaten run in any professional league ever belongs to Red Star Belgrade, or Crvena Zvezda if you must. They've gone 7 years without defeat at the Rajko Mitic in Serbia's Superliga. Their fans are pretty intimidating as well, but they're not as loud as this mob. Galatasaray's Ali Sami Yen Stadium's officially the loudest in world football. In a derby with Fenerbahce, Galatasaray fans set a Guinness World Record of 131 decibels. That's louder than Motorhead, and pretty tough to carry out your manager's instructions when you can't even hear them. However, our most intimidating away day is in Wales, where cameras can't enter and players can't leave. HMP Prescoed. This prison team was briefly kicked out the Gwent League over concerns about young opposition having to go in there. Now that's a tough place to go.
Early June 1939, Germany, always a tough place to go to.
very good morning to you. 6 minutes past 7 o'clock, Tuesday, May the 26th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Shop the upgrade event today and get an extra £500 when you part exchange your car. Don't miss your chance to boost your valuation. Still to come this morning, the oldest club in the Football League, Notts County, are back in League One after beating Salford in the playoff final yesterday. County manager Martin Patterson will join us, and me and Ali will be revealing our official Premier League awards. Don't miss that at 9 a.m. So a narrow escape, to say the least, for Spurs on the final day, 17th for a second successive Premier League season. And following that, non-executive club chairman Peter Charrington's issued a statement saying football success had not been driving our decisions. We didn't build squads good enough to compete in the most demanding league in the world. Therefore, speaking the blindingly obvious. Jamie O'Hara joined the mid-morning show yesterday, and he went head-to-head with Alex Crook on where Spurs should set their standards for transfers this summer.
You've got to be realistic about the type of player you can attract.
What do you mean?
Well, most of your first-choice targets last summer turned you
Talking about
down.
Championship players from Borough. Do me a favour. Come on. We've got to go and sign. We've got to sign Nico Paz. We've got to sign, Andy Robertson. We've got to go out and sign a top striker, 70, 80 million. Richarlison can't hit a barn door. We can't be talking about getting a Championship player and being excited about it. That's dumb.
Time that
All them
Tottenham
Archie
broke the
Grays
bank
and
and signed a top-level striker.
Your record signing is still Dominic Solanke, is it?
Sam, it's got to be ripped up. The recruitment process at Tottenham has been an absolute disaster. It's got to be changed.
But look at last summer. You wanted Brian Mbumo. He wanted to go to Man United.
Yeah, well,
Eberechi Eze was pretty much done.
Yep.
And then Arsenal come in, literally get that deal done within hours.
Money in January for Semenyo, and he didn't want to go there because he was going to go to Man City.
You're talking about 2-3 players, right? And I get that Spurs miss out.
But that's the track record.
There's plenty of players out there.
Over the many
not
years.
lads from Middlesbrough.
Well, look, let's put this in perspective, because when I was listening to the Sunday evening phone-in with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy, O'Hara couldn't actually name any Championship clubs. He had to look online to find out who was in the Championship, let alone any Championship players. But, Morgan Rogers, Ollie Watkins came from the lower leagues. James Maddison came from Norwich and then relegated Leicester. He's a Tottenham player. Archie Gray signed from Leeds when they were in the Championship. Look at people like Antoine Semenyo, Adam Wharton, who've come from Championship clubs, for goodness sake. And I would ask another question, Coisty. Which top striker is going to Tottenham right now?
Well, that's your point, Jeff. That's the point. And it's an absolute nonsense to think that you would close off any avenue to sign good players. There's some tremendous talent in the Championship, and there's been some wonderful players that have come through the lower leagues, and that will always continue. So you don't close your door on anything. That's a nonsense.
Yeah.
And the big point is this, and the boys are making it. Tottenham are so far down the food chain at this moment in time for top quality players that they're going to have to cut their cloth accordingly.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And I don't care if all of a sudden they decide that they are a club that are going to pay the wages that the top clubs are paying, because they've never done that before, right? So I don't think they're going to start doing it now. But even if they do decide to go down that road, Jeff, are you going to tell me that a top centre forward that they're talking about there has an option of going to, I don't know, Villa, Man United, whoever it may be, and play Champions League football, that they're going to go to Tottenham?
Yeah.
No, they're not.
It's ironic, and we talked with those players, by the way. Antoine Semenyo was one of the ones I mentioned. I mean, Tottenham tried to sign him, but they missed out on him.
I know.
And he went to City instead. Look, joining us for more on this now. Very good morning to Spurs and England writer at The Athletic, Jack Pitt-Brook. Morning, Jack.
Good morning, Jack.
Morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you,
thanks
mate.
for coming on, mate. Look, does the situation demand a wholesale clear-out at Tottenham?
Yes, I think it does. I think 2 17th place finishes in the league in a row speaks to that. I think it was very telling that in his post-match press conference on Sunday, Roberto De Zerbi said to us, I think he said there were kind of 10 to 12 players that he could count on for next season. That's not very many. Out of a big Premier League squad, like 10 to 12 is not a lot. So I think that gives you an idea about how much change he thinks that Spurs need. And he said that they need, quote, high-level players. So I think he is going to be he is going to be asking for and expecting quite a lot of business this summer.
Well, that's the very next question then, Jack. The one that I was trying to make, the point I was trying to make there. Wanting top class players and getting top class players are two completely different things. How do they go about selling the club to the top class players?
Well, they have relaxed the very restrictive wage system that they always used to have. You know, Conor Gallagher will have come on more money than anyone else at the club, so they're willing to push the boat out on salaries for established players, which I know was a big frustration of Ange Postecoglou when he was there. Like the fact that they would not commit big salaries for people like Gallagher, Eze, Neto, Gahey, and so on. I think having De Zerbi there will be an attraction. The fact is, I think a lot of players will want to play for him. You know, he's such a passionate manager. He's got such a clear brand of football that I think that will be good. Look, I don't think they're going to compete for the sort of players that Liverpool, Manchester City, and Arsenal will be competing for. I just don't think they're at that. They're not in that marketplace at all.
Agreed.
But I do think they can be attractive for younger players, perhaps players who are maybe still on their way up in their career. I think they have to be a lot braver with looking for players from abroad. I think they've looked for too many players in the Premier League in the last few years. They've spent too much money, whether it's Kudus, Solanke, Brennan Johnson, players coming in at 50 million ago, or even Richarlison, like 50 million a pop, and they've not massively improved the team, I don't think. So I think they need to be braver looking for abroad and not just going for established Premier League names.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Jack. I think De Zerbi himself is going to be an attraction to players. Do you think that he will have a significant input in who comes to the club? Because there have been a lot of question marks over recruitment in recent years.
I think he will have to, Jeff. I think that the fact is he's the man who kept them up. Like they've given him a 5-year contract on a huge salary, and you don't make those. You don't give a manager a contract like that unless you're going to give him a big say in the recruitment. And the fact that he's saved Tottenham, and it's all down to him. Like nobody else deserves any credit from the season apart from De Zerbi. But he's saved Tottenham. He's effectively saved the club £200-300 million by doing that. So he's more than repaid whatever the size of his lavish salary is just by keeping Spurs in the Premier League. So I'm sure that he will be having a big say in recruitment. He will be saying, here are the guys I like, here are the guys I don't like, here are the guys I want to come in. And I think that because everybody at the club owes him so much, the players worship him, the fans worship him, I think he will get everything he wants.
Just a quick one when we've got you on, mate. Looking at Tottenham, I mean, I've got and they don't need it, but I've got unbelievable sympathy for the Tottenham fans. I mean, I just think what I've had to kind of endure, particularly at home the last couple of seasons. There's an interesting statement from Peter Charrington, and he said that Spurs fans, he would get them a side that would get them back to where they belong. Where do Spurs belong at this moment in time, Jack? I mean, the halcyon days of Gareth Bale and Modric and all that kind of stuff seem an eternity away.
Well, I don't think they belong 17th, Ali, but I think that they've taken their eye off the ball so badly that they have been overtaken. They've not just been overtaken by, Newcastle, Aston Villa. They've been overtaken by Brentford, Brighton, Bournemouth. They've been overtaken by so many Premier League teams in the last 2 years because they've lost their identity, they've lost their ambition, they've lost their edge. And so I think it's going to be, and having lost all that ground, in the last 10 years, remember it was only 10 years ago under Pochettino they came second, third in the Premier League. I think it's going to take a lot of work and time and money and patience to get them even back into European qualification places again. But I do think they have got the right manager who can move them there.
Yeah. Jack, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Jack. All the best.
Cheers, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks, Jack. By the way, Jamie O'Hara may not want Hayden Hackney at Tottenham, but I can tell you what, he'll be in the Premier League next season if he so desires. I think you'd be a really good fit at Newcastle. We'll talk about Newcastle a bit later on, by the way. The Athletics, Spurs and England writer Jack Pittbrook there. Spurs fans, just a reminder, by the way, Drive is live at James Madison's Golf Day today. We'll be joined live by the Spurs midfielder as well as other big stars, including the likes of Peter Crouch and Freddie Flintoff. Coming up, former Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy tells us just how much pressure Arne Slot is undergoing into next season. That's next.
You're talking about 2-3 players, right? And I get that Spurs miss out.
But that's the track record.
There's
that
plenty of
Tottenham
players
have
out there.
got over the
not
many
not
years.
lads from Middlesbrough who come off the bench in the playoff final. Like, do me.
Well, he was injured. He was injured.
No, I know,
He's
but
been the best player in the Championship this season.
Yeah, I don't want to sign Championship players. Spurs don't need to sign Championship players. We've got Championship players. They've shown that. We've got Championship players.
Do you? I understand what you're saying. Hayden Hackney, I think, would be a good signing. He's been brilliant this season. But I understand what you're saying about actually you need to aim bigger than that on top of the Hayden Hackneys and that. But do you trust? Do you trust the owners enough?
No, I don't trust the owners.
I don't think it's down to the owners anymore. I think De Zerbi's got full control. I think he will be the one who's picking the players.
They still got to dip their hand in the pockets.
Well,
they've got to okay.
They're the
They've
ones
got to
who
sign off
released
the
a
contracts.
statement when they got rid of Daniel Levy, saying that they're going to spend money.
But that's my point.
Everyone was going to change the narrative, and it was sporting success that they were.
And then what happened in January? They went and sold. They went and sold Brian Johnson for 30 mil. Brought in Conor Gallagher for 30 mil.
Net zero spend.
Well, it was net 12 with Sousa as well, but. You know,
first team.
Exactly. My point is, and that's my point. So summer coming up, this is Tottenham Hotspur, and you can't get the Champions League players. It's not going to happen. But you can still attract with those big wages.
It's about
Alex Scott. They're the type of players.
Well, he came from the Championship.
Yeah, I know, but he's been in Bournemouth and he's top.
No, but they bought him from the Championship.
Yeah, but he's been playing in the Premier League.
Semenyo came. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you can be clever with your recruitment. Antoine Semenyo came from the Championship. Adam Wharton.
I don't
but the point is about to win a European
player
final.
now.
Why not?
Because I don't want them. We've got to sign the Premier League players who are playing in the Premier League who have been top draw.
The point, no.
Championship.
I think you're being a snob.
The point Jamie is making,
upgrading the squad now from where it is. They've had those middle-ranking signings. They need polish to make them get over the line and pull them out of the situation they're in. Here's a question for
Michael Elise's done all right coming out of the Championship.
Go back to.
Who did he go to? Went to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then. Good morning, it's 7:20, Tuesday, May the 26th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist in Glasgow. Time now for this.
Bring it home on talkSPORT with Sky Glass, the TV designed for football. Find out more at sky.com/glass.
Yeah, it's the toughest competition quiz ever to hit the airwaves on talkSPORT. All this week, we're giving away the ultimate superfan TV package thanks to Sky Glass, randomly selected from our online entries. We picked a couple of competitors who are going head-to-head for a chance to win that Sky Glass TV and a year-long Sky subscription. So this morning, it's a very good morning to Al. Morning, Al.
Morning.
Al, who's your team?
Everton.
Oh, right. What did you make of this season?
Not very good. Tailed off at the end. Could be better.
Not in the relegation battle, though, were you, which is nice.
Yes, it makes a change.
Yeah. Let's meet your opponent, Al, today. It's Justin. Morning, Justin.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Who's your team?
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Dusting down your passport. Fancy a bit of a European tour?
Yeah, but European this year. Bring some money into the town, you know?
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, they've done just fantastically. Look, guys, I have to warn you. Yesterday, this finished 1-0. It's the toughest quiz that I've ever been involved in. So, you know, I don't want to worry you too much. But look, this is how it works. You've got 30 seconds each to answer as many World Cup questions as you can. Trust me, 1 is a good score. You're allowed to pass if you don't know the answer. We can only accept your first response, and the top scorer will win that Sky Glass TV and year-long Sky subscription package. Al, you are first up. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Okay. Your 30 seconds starts now. Which country were accused of using lasers during penalties against Egypt in World Cup qualifying?
Italy.
It's Senegal. Which player got sent off after stamping on Ricardo Carvalho in 2006?
Beckham.
It was Wayne Rooney. Which player scored the fastest hat-trick in World Cup history in 1982?
No. Pass.
Which South American country won the first FIFA World Cup tournament in 1930?
Uruguay.
Ooh, yeah. Our producer Ollie, he says we can't give it to you, Al, because it was after. I mean, even though I stumbled over a word in it, but
oh dear me.
He's very harsh.
Yeah.
He's very harsh. But his name is Ollie. Okay, if you want to ring him afterwards and complain to him if you don't win. Okay. I told you they were tough, Al. Uruguay would have been correct, by the way. So, Justin, are you worried?
Yeah.
You must be having heard those questions. Goodness me. Right.
There's no pressure, by the way, but if this finishes nothing...
Goodness me.
If this finishes nothing each, lads, I'm going back to my bed.
Yeah. Okay, Justin, are you ready?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, your 30 seconds starts now. 17 yellow cards were handed out during a 2022 World Cup quarter-final match. Which 2 countries were playing?
Poland and...
No, you're wrong. Netherlands and Argentina. How many World Cup tournaments were cancelled due to World War II?
2.
Is correct. What rule introduced in 1996 and used in 98 and 2002 meant the first team to score in extra time won World Cup matches immediately?
Sudden death.
That was golden goal.
Golden goal.
But... I mean, Justin, you're a lucky boy, because the only question that I would have remotely had an idea of answering was the one that you got right. The World Cup tournaments were cancelled in World War II. 1942 and 1946 were the ones cancelled. Obviously, the World War was over by then, but it was still cancelled.
Yeah.
So, Al, commiserations. I mean, you just got a rough set of questions. And Justin... Congratulations. 1-0 to the Justin. That's the score today. Well done, mate.
Wasn't it? That's questions. I thought I was going to ask the question, who did Zinedine Zidane headbutt?
Yeah. Look, I mean, trust me, these questions are tough. So, commiserations, Al. Justin, well done. And you've won yourself a Sky Glass TV and a year-long Sky subscription. Enjoy it, mate.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, Al. Have a good day. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. We'll play again tomorrow. All thanks to Sky Glass, the TV designed for football. Find out more at sky.com/glass.
Bring it home on talkSPORT with Sky Glass, the TV designed for football. Find out more at sky.com/glass.
Coisty, how many would you have got right?
Cool. I'd have got more than one, but maybe certainly get Uruguay.
Yeah.
I would have got the Netherlands versus Argentina.
Would
I was
Wow.
at the game. I was at the game.
Wow, okay.
That's the only reason I'd have got it. I'd have got that, and I probably would have guessed 2 as well.
I would have guessed 2.
Yeah.
And had I got to Uruguay, I'd have got that, but the others, my goodness.
That was tough, mate.
It was. Talking of being a tough season for Liverpool, despite qualifying for the Champions League next season, being a campaign to forget, really. 12 defeats across the season, 19 in all competitions. And many fans have turned on Arne Slot. Former Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy was on kick-off last night and said it's crucial that Slot and his side hit the ground running next season.
If he doesn't start well, it's going to start again. And then a lot of the options Liverpool have had for managers is... And then also, he's going to have some sort of say in the players. I don't think he's got a big say in the players, by the way. But I think he's going to have some sort of say in the players that come in. But if he starts badly and they're sitting in 5th, 6th after 8 games, it's done.
But look, there's no question, is there, Ali? He goes into the next season under immense pressure, intense scrutiny.
Oh, 100%, mate. I think Danny's absolutely spot on. Out of all the managers next season, I think Arne Slot is the one that really has to hit the ground running, because I was in the stadium on numerous occasions, Jeff. But what game was it? I'm trying to think now. What game was it? It might have been a Chelsea game, where Chelsea are coming off a really poor run of results, and they played a lot better without being great. And you know that way you can just sense a feeling within a stadium, Jeff. You know, there's a kind of... You know, you can tell the natives are a bit restless and they weren't too enamoured of what they were watching. And that's why I think Danny's right. I think there's a lot of things not gone right at Liverpool this year. You can point to 1 or 2 injuries, but generally speaking, the level of performance I don't think was what we all would have expected, particularly Liverpool fans would have expected. And I think all the managers in the top flight next season, he is probably the one that has to start well.
Yeah. What's top of their shopping list?
Oh, what? Well, going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, they're losing a couple of really key players in Salah and Andy Robertson. As amazing as it is, you know, I don't think Salah played anything like to the level of standard that he had. And I think he's been one of the best players the country's seen. But I think last year his performances dropped. Andy Robertson was the opposite for me. I think he probably deserved more game time than he got. I know they'd signed Kerkez, but I think Andy Robertson, in my opinion, should have played a lot more football than he saw. Listen, they're going to have to get the centre forward situation sorted out. I know they've got problems with injuries and things like that, but they're going to have to get a goal scorer in their team that can get them 20-25. That they're losing the goals, not so much last season of Salah, but you're losing Salah's goals that he's chipped in. They're still the one that they've missed, and I keep harping on about it. I think more than anything was Diaz. Obviously the tragedy to Jota, even the big fella, the big fella's work right up front before he left was amazing as well. So in forward areas, but equally, Jeff, the centre back position hasn't been, you know, to the same quality, and even the fullbacks that they brought in haven't hit the ground running. Really, Frimpong and Kerkez. So you're asking me specifically, they need to raise the level of performance, particularly in the back and the centre of defence. And I think they've got to get the goal scoring sorted out.
Yeah, a lot of questions to be answered. Look, Mark and Mickey have both said that I didn't say who did score the fastest hat-trick in World Cup history in 1982.
Rossi, was it?
No, yeah, and Mark and Mickey have both guessed Rossi as well, but the answer, I'm assured, was Laszlo Kiss, who has to be Hungarian, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Coming up, we'll turn our attention to Newcastle. Okay,
I wouldn't
go complete
I wouldn't
blank
get that one
there,
either.
Coisty.
I wouldn't get that one either.
No. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to Newcastle and what needs to be done this summer to rectify the issues we saw this season.
Lots of upheaval at your old club, West Ham United, as well. What's the first thing that they have to get right before the start of next season? Is it in the dugout?
No, it's players. I think recruitment's been the biggest reason why they've been relegated. I think it's obvious when you look at the squad in general, but certainly the signings from last summer, you think of the signings that certainly haven't worked. Fulkrug came and went, a player that was never suited to the way that West Ham play anyway. Mavropanos has got better, but wasn't very good. Todibo hasn't worked. Where are the midfield players? Again, you look at the squad list, they've got 3 midfield players really to choose from in terms of Premier League quality. So obviously the start of the season was terrible for them, and they've been a bit better. But when your manager looks to the starting 11 and then looks to the bench, what are you able to bring on? It is the big difference with players coming back. Tottenham had players they could call upon that I think have still capable in the Premier League. I don't think West Ham have that.
Yeah. How did you feel as a former West Ham United player, learning, as Scott did this morning, that Jean-Claire Todibo pretty much refused to play in yesterday's game because of what happened at Newcastle?
I mean, if that's true, it's disgraceful. Of course it is. There's no way you shouldn't want to be part of saving the club from relegation. You could tell how angry he was. He blanked the manager at St James's Park when he was brought off. He was so poor in the game anyway. He should really have been looking inwardly at himself, not the fact it was him that was taken off. You just hope that sort of attitude. I don't think that's the norm. I think there is a harmonious dressing room
because they've been fighting together,
yes, they have,
haven't they? Since
exactly.
they lost Paqueta in February.
You can question some of the manager's decisions in terms of the starting 11 and the system. Certainly at Newcastle, you can talk about maybe the odd really bad performance. You can't have a go at the players for a lack of effort and desire. Those that have been playing, I think I've very much seen that, and I thought that.
Every spring, sports fans in Europe come together to celebrate arguably rugby's biggest annual tournament, the Six Nations. But why is it the home nations, plus France and Italy, and no one else? It all started back in 1871 when Scotland beat England in the very first international rugby match. A few years later, when they could field a team, Wales decided they'd host England and an idea was thought up. With Ireland keen, they formed the Home International Championship, which ran from 1883. In 1910, France was allowed to join, as they were developing into a serious rugby nation, and thus the Five Nations was born. France had an interesting history with the championship. They were actually booted out for paying their players in 1931, when the home nations were keen to keep it amateur. After World War II, though, France were let back in, but it remained a closed shop for more than 50 years. And when another country was let in, it was only really because the Five Nations' hand had been forced. Italy was developing into a serious contender, beating Scotland, France and Ireland twice in the same year, meaning in 1999 officials got together and said yes to Italy, and it became the Six Nations. So what changes, if any, come next? 7 nations? 8? A promotion and relegation system? Or should we leave it alone and let it remain the great rugby tradition it's become?
Good morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist, 7:35, Tuesday, May the 26th. Mark, who was one of the guys who asked the question about the fastest hat-trick in World Cup history in 1982, has texted again. He said, please give a shout-out to my dad, Billy Horn, who's not very well just now. So, Billy, hope you're soon recovering, mate.
Yep.
Greeno the Postie, regular contributor, says, morning, you legends. England's World Cup squad, I'm flabbergasted we only have one left back, and he's not a natural one. Why wasn't Lewis Hall taken? I honestly, Greeno, I have no idea. I thought he was a certainty, or near certainty, to be on the plane. What did you think, Coisty?
Same, mate. There's a couple of surprises in it for me. I mean,
we're going to talk in depth about it a bit later on, but he was certainly one of them.
Yeah, definitely.
By the way, Greeno also says, just a shout out to the posties who are out in this weather today. It's going to be a sticky one. Now, you boys always want to shout out. If it's cold, it's too cold. If it's hot, it's too sticky. Come on, Greeno. What a lovely
Man up, Greeno.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, if I wasn't doing this for a living, I think I wouldn't mind being a postie.
Aye, in this weather.
Yeah. In fact, when I'm finished here, which, you know, might be sooner than I would like. I mean, maybe I'll be applying for a job, Greeno. Mark was a Villa fan, says, on Liverpool, I think Van Dijk's a concern. I don't watch a lot of Liverpool, but if his performance against Villa's anything to go by, he's done at the highest level and will be abroad or a mid-table club season after next. He just seems to have lost a yard of pace. They need a complete rebuild. Feels like when Ferguson left United, he knew it was past the peak of the squad. He got one more title out of them. Slot got one more out of Klopp's squad. Maybe a bit harsh on Van Dijk. What do you think?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I think,
that's strong.
I mean, look, defensively, they've struggled all season long, that's for sure. Now, it's been a below-par season for Newcastle, to say the least, and Eddie Howe, whose future as team manager still remains the subject of some speculation. A bottom-half finish and possibly more important, finishing behind their arch-rivals, Sunderland, who left many fans with a sour taste in their mouth at the end of the season. Joining us now for more on this is the Daily Mail's chief football reporter, Craig Hope. Morning, Craig.
Morning, Craig.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali.
Well, look, it was a rotten season, wasn't it? Let's not beat around the bush. I couldn't believe it when I looked. 17 league defeats during the course of the season. Does it require wholesale surgery?
It requires surgery. I'm not too sure about wholesale surgery and whether you would extend that to the manager. I don't think so. If anybody knows the strengths and, more importantly, the weaknesses of his squad and what he's got available right now, it's Eddie Howe. So I certainly wouldn't be looking to the dugout, even though there is a small uprising online, which would like to see that be the case. But no, it's certainly a big summer, and in large part it's correcting the mistakes of last summer. I was out there in the Far East and we broke the story of Alexander Isak telling the club that he wanted to go. He'd refused to travel to the Far East with them on the pre-season tour. And from that moment on, really, the die was cast on the season. And that is why, you know, as an observer who follows Newcastle home and away, I'd say there is big mitigation for what has unfolded this season. They missed out on the top targets. Now, part of that was nothing to do with Alexander Isak. That was what I've gone as far as to call neglectful ownership from PIF. Newcastle went into last summer without a sporting director and without a chief executive. Quite incredible, really, given everything that was going to play out during the previous close season. They missed out on the centre forward they wanted. They missed out on the goalkeeper they wanted. Those are two pretty important ends of the pitch, and we've seen that play out this season. So yes, while it hasn't been good enough, while Eddie Howe's performance in part hasn't been good enough either, I do think there are reasons for that, and those involved deserve the chance to go again this summer.
I wouldn't disagree with that, Craig. I'm looking at it, you touched on it there. I mean, we know how important recruitment is, and you look at whether it's Voltamada, Visa, Alanga, they haven't really hit the ground running and haven't been as successful as Eddie Howe would have wanted. However, am I wrong in thinking, Craig, and I'm of the opinion that next year, I'm not saying it'll be fine, but I think we'll see a big improvement next year. Yes, I think it's important the players that they bring in, but equally the opportunity just to concentrate in the league, I think will be a big thing for them, Craig. I think it'll make such a difference, I really do.
Well, it will be. What's the biggest indicator of the future, Ali? It's the past. And if you look at the seasons when Newcastle haven't had European football, they've qualified for the Champions League, but they are almost trapped in this wave cycle now. Absolutely, Ali. I expect them next year with a 38-game Premier League season plus the domestic cups to recover and probably qualify for the Champions League. But what they've got to do is they've got to find a way, if they are going to be number one in the world, which is the stated ambition of the ownership, they've got to find a way to combine a domestic campaign with a European campaign. They haven't been able to do that so far. But yes, I'm in full agreement. I think next year we'll find Newcastle in the top 3, top 4 for the majority of the season.
Will they be able to invest during the course of the summer, Craig?
They need to sell first. They are locked by SCR. And I suppose this is a wider discussion, really, but a frustration for clubs like Newcastle and Aston Villa. How can Newcastle, on the back of the most successful season in their recent history, last time around winning the Carabao Cup, qualifying for the Champions League, then making a British record sale, they still do find themselves here now having to sell to unlock those financial restrictions. It's probably going to be Anthony Gordon who goes. Now, to make a sale, you need a buyer, of course, and Bayern Munich aren't quite yet at the level Newcastle want them to go to in terms of the fee. There's other names, Tonali, Livramento, the strikers as well, of course. So a lot is still unknown. But once they do make that first sale, yes, absolutely, there's scope for investment. And there needs to be big investment as well, because I was talking to someone the other day, and you can go through the entire, you can make an argument that you need a goalkeeper, a right back, a left back, a centre-half, a centre-forward. So that gives you an indication of how much work needs to be done.
Craig, just a quick one on Thomas Tuchel's squad. We're mentioning there, Jeff and I were on a wee chat about it. Lewis Hall, obviously a bit of a surprise there. Are you going over, and what do you think of the squad?
Yeah, I was down there. I was in the room with Tuchel on Fridays. We spoke to him and dissected it really. Now, what I will say is, for so long now, and I've been on this station arguing with goodness knows how many of your pundits, and I've always been of the belief that you pick your best team, not your best players. I was involved in that discussion with Gabby Agbonlahor and others in the autumn, and I liked what Thomas Tuchel did when he came in September, October, November and created that England United, that club feel. Now, he hasn't picked the best players. This time he's picked what he thinks is going to create the best team. I'm okay with that. All the names who've been admitted who I would like to see in there, yes, I think Morgan Gibbs-White is terribly unlucky. I've got no problem with Phil Foden and Cole Palmer being left out. They're just not playing well enough, be that for the club or be that for England when they've had the chance. I noticed you guys, just before I came on there, mentioned Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall has been unlucky and that he's just ran out of form at the wrong time, but I certainly would have taken him. And I would have taken Lewis Hall and Luke Shaw as well. Lewis Hall to be the attacking left-back and Luke Shaw to come on when you need to defend. I think those two together make the perfect, well-rounded left-back. So those are the three names. And threw in Harry Maguire as well, Harry Maguire's reaction, a lot was made of that. And I don't think Thomas was too impressed with it when he spoke to us, but I still think he probably could have gone for that threat and that experience. But on the whole, guys, I back him. I like him. I think I love his single-mindedness. I really do. He's erudite. He's funny. He's good with us guys. He knows what he wants. It's now on him and those players to deliver.
Craig, as ever, thanks very much.
Thanks, be all the best.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Daily Mail's chief football correspondent Craig Hope there. Josh says, as far as Newcastle concerned, sell Elanga, sign Bowen, sell Wissa, sign Igor from Forest, sell Gordon, sell Ramsey, sell Willock, sell Botman, sign Murillo, sign Savino, sign Mateus Fernandez. He says, not ideal the way we finish this season, but less games means more time on the training ground, and hopefully we'll soon be back up there. Just a reminder, by the way, you can win a trip to the 2026 FIFA World Cup courtesy of Adidas. You and a mate could be in Dallas on June the 17th. Watching England against Croatia live, we're talking flights, hotels, spending money, tickets and the official Trionda match ball all included. Head to talksportwin.com to enter and for full T's and C's. And Costa, I was saying that I wouldn't mind being a postman if I wasn't a breakfast show presenter. Greeno's got the last word. He said, you wouldn't get one, Jeff. You need to do more than part-time hours, mate. Thank you very much indeed, Greeno. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Go big on landscaping with Travis Perkins. Find everything you need at travisperkins.co.uk.
Stick around because at 9 o'clock, Ali and I will be dishing out our Premier League awards for the season. Along with all the usual categories, we'll have some alternative ones, so stay tuned. West Ham fans, 03717 223344. Ali thinks you should keep Nuno. I reckon Gary O'Neill might be a decent shout to take you forward. What do you think? Give us a call, have your say from 8 this morning. That was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. From fence panels to decking or paving packs to topsoil, Travis Perkins has all your landscaping needs covered.
Just explain what the story
Well,
is.
basically, Romero's injured. He can't play. Now, Spurs obviously played the biggest game of the season on Sunday. River Plate are playing against his former team on the last day of the season as well. Both teams can win the league, all right? His former club, that one that he grew up with. I don't know I can't remember the name. Anyway, they kick off at 7 on Sunday. He's gone to Argentina to watch the game instead of Spurs against Everton. Now that for me, the club captain not there on the final day of the season. If that doesn't sum up Spurs right there, that is an absolute joke. Now, there might be an argument to say he's injured, he's gone out to Argentina to get treatment because of the World Cup.
I don't care.
No, I'm the same. The club captain has to be at the final game of the season. Why is the club captain not at the final day of the season? He's going to watch River Plate. That is outrageous. Outrageous. Yeah. That is a sackable offence. Yeah, and whoever's allowed that to happen, whether it's come from the top or Roberto De Zerbi, they should be ashamed of themselves. It sums up Tottenham in every aspect that is allowed to happen. Like, if he don't want to be there, fine. No, he won't want to be there.
No, it's not fine.
No, it's not fine.
That's not fine.
But no, I get that. But in terms of he don't want to be at the club, he wants out, right? Get that. But his teammates will want Romero around the dressing room. His teammates. The people that he's played around, the people that he's played alongside, he's been in the trenches with, and he's decided to go and watch River Plate on the last day of the season. It's disgusting.
No, I am absolutely. When Ryan told me this, I looked at him and had to gaze in his eyes. I said, "What are you talking about?" I'm thinking, what game is that day? Can he get back from Argentina? Like, why is he doing that anyway? No, he's going to miss one.
Yeah, they kick off 7:30 on Sunday.
Well, that is.
It's outrageous, mate. It's outrageous.
Maybe he knows what's happening. Maybe he knows you're going to play in Championship football, and he's thinking, do you know what, right? I know where we're going. I'd rather go and watch a decent...
That's not the point. That's not the point.
And Spurs.
That's not the point. You can't get away with that. You're the club captain. Club captain is not there on the final day of the season. That is...
It's disgusting.
It is so bad. So bad.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist. Oh, it says on my script. Oh, Coisty and
What have I done
Arnold
to
Clark.
deserve that? What have I done to deserve that?
Yeah, well, Gabby is an ever-present here, really. Let's be
That'd
brutally
be fair,
honest,
yeah.
you know. So.
He's a part of the furniture.
He really is, yeah. Buy a used car, get a free 2-year service plan plus an extra £500 when you part exchange. Shop the upgrade event today. A lot of flack going the way of Eddie Howe at the moment. Mark says, ask Craig Hope why the press protect him. Can't keep a clean sheet, can't hold on to a lead. Only relegated teams lost more games than us. His time is up. Lee in Stourbridge says, why does Eddie Howe get the love in? And the too many games and injuries nonsense. Villa had a net spend of 28 million this season, lost their whole midfield plus Cash and Torres for 8 weeks, yet finished fourth and won the Europa League. And another one here saying Newcastle spent a fortune last summer on rubbish. Would have spent more if the likes of Cunha and Bumo and others didn't turn them down. They can't cope with playing in Europe, and I don't think Howe will be there much longer. And Chris, who's a Newcastle fan as well, says Craig is miles off about the manager who's reached the end of the line and needs to go without a shadow of doubt. So fair amount of flack coming the way of poor old Eddie Howe there. And by the way, Ray has texted in just quickly with this one. So they agree about Lewis Hall. He's been outstanding this season. Scandalous omission. But Ray, thank you for this. Greeno, he's put you right in your place here, mate. A sticky day for posties. What about us RBS concrete boys? Pushing wheelbarrows full of concrete around all day. I'll take posting letters in this every day of the week. So there you go, Greeno. Stick
There
that
you
in
are.
your sack, mate.
Have some of that, mate.
Some headlines this Tuesday morning. Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes has defended his character and achievements as he accused Roy Keane of telling a lie about his pursuit of the Premier League assist record. And Declan Rice has warned his rivals that Arsenal will stay at the top after becoming Premier League champions. Darren Bent was on Drive yesterday, speaking on whether the champions can improve even more this summer.
For me, if you're saying to me, right, where's the one position that Arsenal need to improve? It's the left-hand side. That's the one area where, listen, this season, Trossard, with a mixture of Trossard, Martinelli, Eze's spent a little bit of time over there, Arsenal have managed to get through where they've managed to obviously get over the line, win the Premier League. That won't always be the case. You need real quality now. With Saka on the right-hand side, you know what you're getting. Centre forward, I'm even happy with Gyökeres and Havertz. I'm happy with that combination.
Well, that's interesting from Bentley. Do you think that, I think left-hand side, no question.
Yes.
That there's an issue
Yes.
there. I just wonder whether they'll reapproach Julian Alvarez. Because Gyökeres has had a good season, I think, in terms of figures.
Definitely.
But would Alvarez be an upgrade?
Yes. Yes, he would. Having seen Alvarez a few times this season, I think he would be an upgrade. Taking nothing away, because Gyökeres has had a good season. His figures have been good. And I think he's actually, Jeff, I don't know whether you agree, I think he's actually progressed and get better.
Yeah, I do.
As the season's
No, I do agree, mate. Yeah, definitely do.
I really do. I think Benty makes a valid point on the left-hand side. Trossard, Martinelli. The one thing, I don't know if he'd said it, but I'm not playing Eze out there at all.
No.
Mate. No chance am I playing him in a wider position. It's definitely more, for me, far more beneficial as a 10, more central. I think he gets lost a little bit out there. But other than that, I do think Alvarez would be a step up, because I think he's got a little bit more quality. But I'm not sure they'll change it. I think Arteta might look again at Gyökeres and expect continued improvement again, which I think would be a realistic proposition. Jeff.
Yeah, it's a definite possibility. It certainly doesn't need much doing to just a tweak, maybe here and there.
Correct.
And of course, Darren Bent, we heard from him a moment or two ago. Bentley and Andy Goldstein will be live at James Madison's Golf Day today from 4 o'clock. Right, time now for our coffee break with Costa Express.
The Costa Coffee Break on talkSPORT, sponsored by Costa Express. Quality coffee, quality day.
Yeah, now we're playing this because I'm sure you're aware of this, Coisty. The annual Gloucestershire cheese rolling competition took place over the weekend.
Just, Jeff, can I just interrupt you very quickly? Are you aware who sings that song?
No, I've got no idea.
Well, I'll just inform you it's Limp Bizkit. Carry on.
Was it? Great. I won't be buying any of their albums, okay? So look...
Not quite foreigner, but they're not bad.
Yeah. So look... Yeah, their greatest hits runs to the same duration. So Tom Kopka was the winner there. Look, it was his third consecutive win. He said, this was my best year ever afterwards. Now, the guy he beat was a guy called Chris Anderson, and I saw him described in one newspaper as a cheese-rolling legend. And it made me think, how do you become a legend in cheese-rolling?
Imagine having that in your CV.
Yeah.
I'm with you, mate. What do you have to do to officially become a cheese-rolling legend?
Well, he's won 23 tournaments, I think, in the space of a few years, you know. So, and I guess that Tom Kopka, 3 years in a row winning this, would be a cheese-rolling legend. What made me wonder was, you know, it was 30-odd degrees. How bad must it have smelt?
Oh, dear me. Absolutely. Is that the thing I've seen where they're rolling all the way down the hill?
Yeah.
And it looks... Actually, it looks really dangerous, no? Is that the same thing?
Well, I think that, yeah, you can take a tumble or two. I'm not sure how dangerous it is, but you can take a tumble or two, that's for sure. I want to know what they do with the cheese at the end.
Actually, I don't.
You are too picky, McCoist. Far too picky. Look, if you think chasing a wheel of cheese down a hill is weird, look, there are plenty of other weird pastimes that British people compete in. You know, they've been listed in the Sun this morning. There's bog snorkeling. We've all heard of that. You know,
Yes.
swimming 60 yards underwater in bog water.
I'm having cheese rolling before that.
Yeah, and you're probably having cheese rolling before this next one as well. Toe wrestling. Fancy a bit of toe wrestling? You can win $5,000.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Toe wrestling.
Toe wrestling championships take place in Derbyshire.
I take it as big toe wrestling. Because it'd be a hell of a challenge if it was your other toes. It's got to be big toe wrestling.
It would. Here's the best one, mate. Here's the best one. Extreme ironing.
What is that? Ironing your shirt when you're wearing it?
Yeah, no. Look, as far as I'm concerned, any ironing is extreme. But this is, you've got to send in videos of you ironing in the most extreme situations that you can, you know, in the Grand Canyon, in the ocean, you know, that sort of thing. That's extreme ironing.
It says in my script, while parachuting.
I don't believe that's ever been
By
done.
the way, you don't want to be in the ground when that ironing board comes in and...
Yeah.
It's something out of Tom and Jerry, man.
Yep.
Oh,
Brilliant.
dear
Yeah,
me.
you find yourself 10 feet under, don't you? Brilliant. I don't fancy any of those, do you?
No, not for me, Jeff.
Cheese rolling is definitely top of that list.
Yes, I'll take you on at cheese rolling.
Yeah.
We'll have a competition. talkSPORT challenge, cheese rolling.
Okay. So look, that was all thanks to Costa Express. And just, Ali, just because you asked about how dangerous cheese rolling is, official average injuries, paramedics treat around 30 to 40 injuries a year. The most common breakages are collarbones, ankles and wrists.
That would have been my guess would have been a collarbone and a wrist when you're putting your hand out to protect yourself. Your scaphoid, which is the second easiest bone in your body to break, I think, after your collarbone. That would explain it. That sums it up, really.
Yeah. I want to know how much cheese rolling takes place for there to be 30 or 40 injuries per year.
Yeah.
Coming at West Ham fans, I mean, maybe you should turn your attention away from football towards cheese rolling. I don't know. It's your chance to have your say on what needs to happen at your club this summer. 03717 223344 is the number to call.
The Costa Coffee Break on talkSPORT. Sponsored by Costa Express. Quality coffee, quality day.
when you're sitting with your squad and you're looking to pick a squad of 26, you say, how many defenders do we need? I would normally go with 8.
There's 9, isn't there? In this
There's 9. And I wonder whether, mentioned earlier, question marks on Stone's fitness, James's fitness, and maybe Livramento's. 3 players has put an extra defender in his mind to cover that, which I think has been at the cost of Cole Palmer at the front end of the team looking at this.
Well, let's be ultimately clear. When you go through the squad, Livramento's played 164 minutes in the Premier League since the last international break. James has played 83 minutes of the Cup final, but not played against Spurs. He played 27 minutes off the bench against Liverpool at Anfield the week before. Stones, since the 2nd of December, has featured 4 times for Manchester City, totalling just 253 minutes of action. And Jed Spence, I mean, look, he played 70 minutes against Uruguay in the friendly on the Friday night of the last international break, but he's only started once under Roberto De Zerbi. So it's not as if everybody in that back line is playing regular football.
I guess you can look at that 2 ways. You could say there's a risk because they've not played many minutes, or you could say actually they're coming in fresher than some of the players because they've not played so many minutes. Looking at your face, Stuart, you think they should have had a lot more minutes under their belt.
I think people are a little bit deluded with this word fresh. Listen, I'm fresh. I ain't played for 20 years. Don't make me a better player, you know? I think it's very, very misleading. People say being fresh. I like to get in a routine, a rhythm, 90 minutes, going to major tournaments. I'm sure Gab's the same. If you said to him, like, have a month off and then deliver, well, he'd probably take that. I'm wrong individual, sorry, but most people, most normal human beings need the consistency of playing. And this fresh, it's a red herring. Honestly, it really is. You're telling me, leave me out and don't play me a great deal since the 2nd of December in John Stones is going to be helpful this summer. I don't see it.
And he has a history of picking up injuries. Didn't he pull out the last squad injured at the last minute?
He did, but the other thing to mention is that he always seems to be available for England, especially at major tournaments, and he has managed to do that regularly.
Aguero, Solskjaer, Deeney, Watkins. Sure, you know all about those last-minute goals, but have you heard the one about the on-loan goalkeeper who saved his temporary employers from disappearing out the Football League and into almost certain financial oblivion? Back in 1999, Carlisle United, managed by Nigel Pearson, were fighting to stay in the Football League. Carlisle's finances were precarious with a capital P that season, leading to a scenario where, with 3 games to go, they had to ask the FA to sanction an emergency loan deal to bring in a goalkeeper. Swindon Town's Jimmy Glass arrived at the club. His efforts in his first 2 games earned the Cumbrians 2 draws. Those vital points meant that Carlisle went into their final game of the Division 3 season, now League 2, needing to beat mid-table Plymouth Argyle in front of their own fans and hope their relegation rival Scarborough didn't win against Peterborough at home. The game at the McCain Stadium finished 1-1, and with the same scoreline at Brunton Park deep into injury time, Scarborough's fans invaded the pitch en masse, believing their Football League status was secure, convinced they'd done enough to stay up. However, there'd be one more plot twist. Carlisle won a corner in the dying seconds, and up came Jimmy Glass. In one of those you couldn't make it up moments, Glass scored from a rebounded header and was promptly swamped by teammates and thousands of fans who quite simply couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed. As for Jimmy Glass, he became an overnight celebrity, but he never played for Carlisle again, and his playing career never really kicked on after that defining moment. He took on various jobs outside of football before finding his way back into the sport as player liaison officer at Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, and most recently the general manager at non-league Wimborne. Not the fairy tale ending to one of the most Hollywood moments in football, but the name Jimmy Glass will live on forever as the scorer of that goal, arguably the most important in any club's history.
Good morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. 7 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is the perfect time to upgrade your car. Get 2 years free servicing when you buy a used car in the upgrade event. Check it out online. We have started something with, Greeno started something by suggesting it was tough being a postie in these conditions. Ray has hit back with people trundling loads of concrete. Greeno says, a fair point, Jeff. Fair few concrete lorries to see parked up. They're all sat in their cabs smoking a fag. Just saying, says Greeno. And Lorraine in Norwich says, I feel for the poor old posties, but I'm in a bakery. No windows, useless ventilation. It's about 50 degrees in here. Some sympathy for us bakers, please. And another one here, ironing. That's what we do in this weather. It is extreme. And that's from Deb's Ironing Shop in Wakefield. Yeah, extreme ironing in 30-odd degrees. Completely get it, Debs. On the way for you this morning, the oldest club in the Football League, Notts County, are back in League One. They beat Salford pretty comprehensively in the end in the playoff final yesterday. The county manager, Martin Paterson, will join us a bit later on. We'll talk boxing with British heavyweight Johnny Fisher. Alexander Usyk retaining his world heavyweight titles at the weekend. It was not without controversy, though. And Ali and I will be revealing our official Premier League awards. Don't miss that at around 9 this morning. Right now, though, Nuno Espirito Santo is set to leave West Ham following their relegation from the Premier League. The Hammers' 14-year stay in the top flight ended on Sunday. Founder and host of West Ham TV, Nicky Hawkins, joined us on the breakfast show yesterday. He claimed the club are closer now to League One than they are to the Premier League. What do you make of that, Ali?
I mean, I wouldn't be taking my foot off the gas, or, and taking anything for granted. But I think it's really, really important, obviously, the next few months to see what happens with West Ham in terms of recruitment. Just as important, players that stay and the person that's in the hot seat for the start of the season, Jeff. So, but I wouldn't. I'm not ruling out or naive to think that it isn't possible. But I would disagree with that. I think there's a better chance of them coming straight back up than there is getting down. Put it that way.
Yeah. The situation financially, though, at West Ham is pretty bleak.
Yes.
Kieran Maguire explained that to us a little earlier in the show.
In the last set of accounts, they generated £228 million of revenue. I think that's likely to take a hit of around about 100 million. So that therefore there's a big gap. The wage bill is significant. Yeah, the average wage is over £70,000 a week. I think many players will have relegation clauses. I think the thing which worries me most of all is that West Ham have spent a lot of money in the transfer market, and they owed £196 million in unpaid transfer fees at the end of 2025. Now, those instalments have to be paid on a year-by-year basis, and you do wonder where their cash is to pay them over the course of the next 12 months, unless the owners put in some cash themselves.
A lot of West Ham fans want to have their say on this, so let's go to the phone lines right now. Phil is a West Ham fan. Morning, Phil.
Good morning, Phil.
Morning, boys. How are we doing? You all right?
Yeah,
fine,
very
mate.
good,
Fine,
thanks,
mate.
mate. What's your view on what's happening at your club?
It just stems from going back, Tim Steidstein, bringing him in. All the recruitment, it's just been wrong from the start. Lopetegui wasn't the right manager. We bring him in, he brings in his players, they get rid of him, they bring in Potter. Potter didn't have a chance to get in his players. They get rid of him, they bring in Nuno. He had the same. You're trying to give someone some bricks and tell them to build a straw house. They can't do it with someone else's players. And it stems, I don't want to get it on a rant to go down the route of, it's Sullivan this, Sullivan that, but that's where the problems start. And it's got to be sorted out. Otherwise, we are just going to free fly straight way down into League One.
Would you change manager again, Phil?
No, I wouldn't. I would keep Nuno for now. If you look at who's out there, Scotty Parker, he was a great player for us, Hammer of the Year on numerous occasions. Can he get you out the Championship? Yes. But he's never really done anything major in the Premier League. Gary O'Neill, again, ex-player, knows what the club's about. Is he going to be able to do it in the Premiership for us if we get there? Probably not. I would stick with Nuno. Unless
Phil...
Pep fancies a payoff.
Phil, thank you very much. Lee is a Hammer as well. Morning, Lee.
Good morning, Lee.
Morning, mate. You two guys are doing brilliant as always.
Thank you very much indeed, mate.
This keeping Nuno, listen, the proverbial blood's on his hands as much as anyone. We threw 20 points away from winning positions in games this season. That the impact on that in that league table would be massive. He's leading at Bournemouth, leading at Chelsea, losing at home to Forest when he was bedding in the team and playing players out of position for whatever point he was trying to prove. He's, as well as we've done, we only really improved when he brought in his actual number 2, Paco, after Christmas. But his tactics and playing like that in the Championship, we're not going to be anywhere near coming back up trying to counter-attack sides if we've got anywhere near the sort of resources that one of the bigger sides in the Championship should have. So for me, he's gone.
Is it more importantly that you keep the likes of Bowen and Fernandes?
Fernandes, I'd love to say he's going to stay, but he's not. You just heard Kieran talking about numbers. And Matty Fernandes will make a big dent in those numbers.
Yeah.
In my heart, Bowen he's got a very settled young family. By the time he hasn't made the World Cup squad, by the time the Euros comes around, he's going to be 33. If we do get up, then he's got a pop at that. But realistically, I don't know what he has won a trophy with us. I don't know what there is to offer him in terms of balance against dragging. He's got a very settled, obviously, the Dyer family and whatnot. They're very settled down here. He's, very close to the parents and whatnot. So
Lee,
I'm hopeful he stays. But
thanks, Lee. Thank you very much for the call, mate. Let's squeeze another one in. Rob is also a West Ham fan. Morning, Rob.
Good morning, Rob.
Yeah, morning, both. How you doing, guys?
Yeah,
very well, thanks.
Good, thanks, mate. What do you think should happen at your football club?
Look, I think this all stems back to the owners again. I think, as the previous callers have stated, bringing in Lopetegui, I don't think many West Ham fans wanted him there. I think Potter, again, it was very divided bringing him into the club. It was 50-50. And the recruitment policy has been shocking. You've had Tottenham fans come on saying very similar things about their club. We're exactly in the same boat as what they're in. The recruitment has just not been good enough. If you look back, when Lopetegui came in, he had Potter there. We got rid of Soufal. Emerson left. Creswell left. Alvarez went under Potter. And they were just never replaced. We were playing with a youth squad for the first half of the season, which basically, in effect, I think, got us relegated.
Do you expect to bounce straight back then, Rob, or not?
I think it's tough to say. The Championship is a tough division. There's plenty of games to play. There's midweek games. And I think it's going to depend upon who we keep in that squad. I don't think Bowen will stay, and I think rightly so. He's at an age where he probably does deserve to go and leave and go elsewhere. It's difficult, isn't it? When you get relegated into that Championship, people do want to go and play at a higher level, and it's not there, is it?
Yeah. Rob, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks for the call, mate.
Thanks, guys.
West Ham fans concerned about the future and just wondering who will be in charge next season. Will it be Nuno? We may well find out as early as today. Coming up yesterday, I explained my concern regarding John Stones' form and lack of appearances ahead of the World Cup. I'll give you the rest of my thoughts on England's World Cup squad. And Ali will moan again about Ollie McBurney not being in the Scotland squad. This is talkSPORT Breakfast.
Thomas Tuchel, when it comes to naming these squads, he always gives us a headline, doesn't he? Do you remember when we were broadcasting from Ascot and he left out Jude Bellingham? Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold has been omitted, so there is always a talking point. But I think if we'd sat down yesterday, before obviously we started getting all the news yesterday afternoon and put our 26-man squad down, there's probably, 4 names in there that maybe we wouldn't have expected?
3 or 4, maybe, yeah.
None of us would have had Ivan Toney. I mean, Ivan Toney wouldn't have had himself by the sound of things.
The fact he's at the embassy this morning tells you everything.
Yeah. As far as the back four is concerned, I think it will be James, Konsa, Gay and O'Reilly to start the first game of the tournament. I think we're pretty solid on that. So therefore, you can afford to take a couple of wild cards, a couple of slightly different players that fill gaps later on in the tournament. John Stones, we mentioned lack of minutes. We can't expect him to play 10 games or 8 games in 4.5 weeks. It's not viable bearing the amount of minutes that he's got under his belt. But class is permanent, and Thomas Tuchel likes to have him around. If you remember last year when we were in Girona, he wasn't fit, but he brought him into the camp even though he wasn't part of the squad because he wants him around. Why is that? Just explain to us what it is about him that he really likes.
Well, these boys have got to spend 7 weeks together, so you've got to have the chemistry right within the group. If you've got some great influences within that group, it's brilliant, just to facilitate everyone. More importantly, I as a manager never had to worry about number 1 to 11. They looked after themselves. You take them to a major tournament, they're picked, they're happy. It's the ones from 12 to 26. I always used to make sure, as a manager, whenever we went to a major tournament, the day
This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist. Yes, turning out to be, well, I say it's turning out to be a good summer, isn't it? You know what? We get so many messages about the heat and the fact we're going to have to get used to it.
Yeah.
And I look back, the 13th of May, the reports were it had been the coldest May on record. So we go literally from one extreme to
the other.
Another. Yeah, 34 degrees yesterday. Look, a headline in the Times, I don't think this works, because you always get, don't you, when it's hot in England, you always get, hotter than Benidorm, or hotter than Mallorca, or hotter than Cyprus.
Yeah.
The Times today, hotter than Hanoi. Well, I couldn't tell you what the temperature ever is in Hanoi, so it didn't mean a thing to me. Do you like the heat, Coisty? Are you a sun lover?
Do you know something, Jeff? I am. But this will sound crazy, but you'll know what I mean. I like to sit in the shade, right? I enjoy the heat and I enjoy the sun, but I enjoy being covered up. I mean, I was out yesterday. We had a brilliant day yesterday. I had my first game of golf yesterday in a long, long time, and the weather was great. The weather was brilliant. And then, of course, we're not blessed in the weather, even anything like you guys down the road. So as soon as the weather, we can plan barbecue as well. So we had a brilliant day. Hit a few golf balls and then had a lovely wee barbecue in the evening. But I mean, you could count in the one hand the amount of time we can get that barbecue at this year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. I went for a stroll by the Thames yesterday. I thought, half-term, lovely sunny day, it'll be packed, but it really wasn't. And all of the bars who had seating in the sun, they were absolutely deserted. It was only the bars that had some shade that had anyone in them at all. But I was surprised. A lot of people would just seem to me to be staying indoors. Paul's text, he said, here's an idea, by the way. Should West Ham and Nuno part ways, I would go for Stuart Pearce. I'm not sure whether Pearce would be willing or not now, but it's not a bad shout, is it? And I'm getting reports in that Enzo Maresca has signed his 3-year deal at Manchester City. The agreement is until June 2029. And Maresca will be fully involved in the club's transfer strategy. That's a report coming in at the moment. What do you think of that, Maresca to replace Pep Guardiola, Coisty?
We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, the rumours are it was like a done deal for a wee while now, wasn't it? Let's be honest about it. So there's no real surprise. But the fact of the matter is, you know, we don't know, Jeff. I mean, it's like you could probably liken it to taking the microphone from Frank Sinatra. Do you know what I mean? It's one of these. It's going to be. He's got a mountain to climb because no matter what happens, he's going to be judged by the previous manager, who has been nothing short of sensational. So it's a tough gig. But we'll just have to monitor it and see how he gets on.
Yeah, you said yesterday you never really want to be the next cab on the rank, do you? No. Not in this situation. The next but one, now that's a different matter. But we wish Enzo Maresca the very best of luck. Right, let's get the latest odds with Coral and Simon Clare.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Simon, good morning to you.
Good morning, Simon.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Ali. How are we doing today?
Yeah, well, we're in top form. Simon, I haven't asked you. Are you Budapest bound?
I'm not. I wish I was. My son's doing A-levels, so
right.
I think he's got an exam on the Monday. So I thought I didn't even entertain it really because I'm trying to focus his mind. And I didn't really want to go without him either. So we're going to find somewhere good on Saturday and settle down and watch the game. But basking in the glow of the title victory, it's a free roll of the dice in a way, so you never know. I mean, Arsenal might as well get straight into the odds. We are the second favourites behind PSG. It's 11-10 Arsenal to lift the trophy, 4-6 PSG, but not a huge amount in it really. I think respecting Arsenal's tight defensive capabilities, I think it's going to be an interesting game to watch, I would have thought.
Yeah, and that's because they are English punters who bet with you.
Yes.
Let's be brutally honest about it.
Well, yes, that as well.
I think the rest of the world will see it a little differently, and Arsenal will be, a little less close to PSG in the odds. But it's a one-off game. Absolutely anything can happen. Talking of one-off games, Crystal Palace against Rayo Vallecano. Are Palace firm favourites?
Yeah, they are 4-9 favourites. What a position to be for Palace fans. I mean, they've had a great European run, a solid Premier League season, not spectacular at all by any means, but heavy favourites to win this European trophy. 13-8 Rayo Vallecano. I mean, I suppose one-off games. You can never be sure, but on the balance of the form in Europe, you'd say Palace deserve to be as short as that. Do you think, guys?
I think so. I think that's about right. I mean, I'd be very, very surprised if if you're a Palace fan, Simon, the last 2 or 3 years, I know there's going to be change at management level, but the last couple of years have been absolutely fantastic. And I've seen some of the performances, particularly at Wembley, that FA Cup and the Community Shield and things like that. They've been great. It's been a great story, Palace, the last 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. But I tell you what, if you're a Rayo Vallecano fan, you're looking at the Premier League term, you think, Palace, 15. We can beat them.
Absolutely. But it says a lot about the strength of the Premier League, doesn't it? That, Nottingham Forest down the bottom of the table, they got to the semis of the Europa League. And then that mid-table power with Bournemouth, Brighton and co. It's a strong league, the Premier League. And, you're just talking there about Maresca signing this 3-year deal. I find next year's title race utterly fascinating to try and get your head right now, because you've got Arsenal, Premier League champions, very settled, but you know how tough it is to win back-to-back Premier Leagues, particularly after all those seconds. Can they maintain it? But then you look behind them, 5-2 Manchester City, new manager, following Pep. What will there be turnover of players? We know there's some already. Liverpool 11-2, but again, will there be? We know Alisson, Salah, Robertson are all going. What's going to happen at Anfield? Carrick, first full season in charge of United. He's had a great start, but can he maintain that through a season? They're 6-1, and then Xabi Alonso at Chelsea. Well, that's always one of the toughest jobs in Premier League football. 25's Villa, maybe. So I mean, if you were sitting here now, how would you imagine? Who do you think is going to emerge from that patch? Do you think Arsenal are right to be favourites, or could there be a?
I do actually, Simon. I do. Just because mainly that I think they've been, thoroughly deserving of a title this year. Plus, I think there's a big question mark about Liverpool. There's a question mark over Manchester United, who have been have done exceptionally well, but no European football. All of a sudden, they've got Champions League football to contend with. So there's a question mark there. And also, there's a question mark over Manchester City. So you would think the one constant would be Arsenal, and that's why I get the favouritism.
Yeah, and there's going to be continuity at Arsenal, isn't there? No change of manager, no players leaving unless the club wants them to leave, and maybe an addition or two. Yeah. I think they're right. They should be red-hot favourites. What about in Scotland, actually, Simon? While we're talking about next season's titles, obviously Hearts went so close this season. Celtic the champions, Lawrence Shankland joining Rangers. How do you price that up?
Yeah, I mean, Celtic are favourites, 8-11. Obviously, they keep getting it done. 7-4 Rangers, and then 5-1 Hearts. So, I mean, listen, what a mighty challenge they made of it this year. I mean, so unlucky in so many ways. Can they go again, I suppose, is the question I ask you to. Is it a tough ask, or do you think they've got enough about them to give it another cracking shot?
I do. I really do. And I'll tell you one of the reasons I think they'll go again. I think they'll seriously strengthen. That's the thing, Jeff, Simon. Yeah. I don't think they'll sit back and say, well, we're unlucky, we maybe did, one or two changes. I think they'll make 4 or 5 changes. I think they'll bring at least 4 or 5 new players in, and I think they'll build on it. The problem they'll have is probably the players that they'll lose, Simon. I mean, Shankland looks as though he's going to Rangers. The wee boy Devlin, who's been an exception for him in the middle of the park, not sure what he's doing. And obviously, the boy Halkett, who I think's been excellent for him at centre-back, has done his Achilles, is going to be out probably at the turn of the year. So that'll be a massive problem for them. But I do think they'll bring fresh faces in.
Yeah, Tony Bloom, I think you should invest again. By the way, just touching on that Crystal Palace Rayo Vallecano game, text from Matt, he says, as an English Rayo Vallecano fan living in Madrid, just walk past their training ground, I think the British are being very dismissive. I expect my Vallecano to get the job done. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
International listenership. That's always encouraging, isn't it? Listening all over the world.
We get listeners worldwide. I'm sure there's somebody out in Hanoi at the moment who can tell us what the temperature is there. Simon, thank you very much indeed.
Have a good day, Simon.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
And that was a look at the latest odds with Coral 18+, gambleaware.org. Coming up, 16 days till the World Cup gets underway. We'll bring you every game live on talkSPORT. Ali and I will give you our thoughts on Tuchel's England squad next.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Look at some of the attackers, Palmer and Foden left at home. The two omissions probably that define the talking points of the squad.
But we all expected it. I've been saying it for the last 2 months, and Manchester City fans and Chelsea fans are like, no, you can't leave them out. It's Cole Palmer, it's Foden. We know what Palmer can do in big games, but when you're not performing in that position where we've got so much talent, like Rodgers, Eze, look at Bowen, unfortunate not to be in the squad. Gibbs White can't get in the squad, so I don't think it's a shock that Foden and Palmer don't make it.
One of the things that he has said, Thomas Tuchel, is that he wasn't going to take a batch of number 10s. He was going to take players that played in specific positions in that front line. He has only taken 3 of them. He couldn't take 5. He didn't want to take Foden and Palmer and then crowbar them into the team out of position. Is that the right call?
I think so, because we saw, going back to the last European Championships, Gareth Southgate tried to do that with Foden in particular, and he ended up having a nightmare of a tournament. Palmer was used only sparingly. So, yeah, I understand the argument. I would have taken one more in that number 10 position, because obviously you can play Bellingham deeper if needed as well. And I think if you're talking about taking one more, Gabby's dead right on form. Foden has been off it for a long time. Palmer has had an injury-afflicted season and hasn't really been the Cole Palmer of old. Morgan Gibbs-White would have been the one for me. You look at his numbers, his best ever goal-scoring season. He's carried Forest away from relegation danger into a major European semi-final. So I think of all the players that have been left out, he'll be concerned this morning. I was just thinking there, actually, can we lend a few of these to Scotland? You know, they'd appreciate it.
Unnecessary? Would you say unnecessary stoking the fires with?
He is. I don't know whether that's an insult to England or Scotland at this moment in time. We'll dig deeper later.
Morgan Gibbs-White, the joint most goal contributions of any English player in the Premier League this season, didn't make the squad. 17 goals, Europa League semi-finalists. Come up with some big moments as well when Forest have needed it most. As a Forest man yourself, does that irk you a little bit?
I've looked at Gibbs-White's performances over the last 2 or 3 years. When he plays well, Forest play well. You know, he does have dips in form, to be fair.
Boxing. It's a sport that makes multi-millionaires out of the world's best fighters. But it's not as flush with cash as you'd think. We all see how much the likes of Tyson Fury or Canelo Alvarez make every fight, but that's not the case for those just starting out, or those who aren't even at that level. For example, if you've just turned pro and don't have a promoter, you have to sell your own tickets, cover the cost of the venue yourself, and pay the taxman at the end of it. You might not even break even, but if you do, you're looking at 5 to 10 grand max. A mid-tier fighter might make more like 10 to 50 grand, but you still have to give up half of that in costs. So unless you're fighting for a world title, it's tough to make money. One potential way of doing it, though, is being a journeyman. Here's former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver explaining how that could work.
They want to fight every week, and they can be going in against the prospects, so they can demand good money, and they might be demanding like 5 grand, 10 grand for a 6-rounder or something because they're going in with a prospect. He gets through that, the journeyman gets through that fight, and he can fight again next week.
I mean, even so, it's not much, and you're getting punched in the face for a job. It's only really at the top level, i.e. fighting for titles, where you're earning up to 6 figures and can afford a diamond chain or that Ferrari. So boxing isn't a sport that allows you to retire at 40 and live a life of luxury. Much like a lot of other sports and jobs in general, it takes an awful lot of luck quite early in your career to really make it worth your while.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Shop the upgrade event today and get an extra £500 when you part exchange your car. Don't miss your chance to boost your valuation. I mentioned we probably had listeners in Hanoi. Not just yet. We've got Fraser who says, I'm not in Hanoi, I'm further away. I'm in New Zealand watching and listening on YouTube. Morning,
wow.
Fraser.
Morning, Fraser.
Damien says, not Hanoi, Jeff, but it's 33 to 34 degrees and 86% humidity here in Hong Kong. Morning to you, Damien. And another one here from Adam says, I'm living in Vietnam. I may not be in Hanoi, but I'm in Saigon. And it's boiling hot and a heat wave, and it has been for weeks, like most of the time. Today, it's 36 degrees. It says feels like 43. Try that on the back of a motorbike taxi in a suit in rush hour traffic. Up the villa, he says. Thanks very much indeed, Adam. Yeah, we've got listeners worldwide, which is absolutely brilliant to know. Right, it's been an eventful week, to say the least, for football. We've had Spygate, Arsenal winning the league, Villa winning their first silverware for 30 years, relegation scrap that went to the final day. But in 16 days' time, it's all about the World Cup and England's chances.
We have 26 very committed players. It's a very balanced group. We have a significant amount of guys who want to start every match.
I'm really pleased with the 2/3 of the team. Are we going to be good enough collectively, defensively, to bring some silverware home?
This manager looks like he's going to do it his way. To leave out Harry Maguire, Gibbs White as well. You don't care what anyone says.
The noise is normal. It comes with difficult decisions. I love the difficult decisions because it gives us clarity, it gives us a certain edge.
Here is Tony. Sends the keeper the wrong way. And England are back level.
I think he can be a very valuable addition to Harry Kane, and not to forget he's a world-class penalty taker.
It's in from Harry Maguire.
I can see the reason behind the disappointment. It was a decision for these 26 players, even if it feels that it's against individuals. It comes with doubts. We cannot please everyone. If there's still anyone doubting, we have to convince them on the pitch.
Yeah, Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, of course. Scotland have named their World Cup squad as well. Let's talk about England, though, Coisty. I mean, some controversial decisions there. The omissions of Harry Maguire and Lewis Hall and Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, controversial to a lesser degree, I think, because of their current form. What did you make of the England squad? I think particularly defensively.
Well, I think that's the area that England are weakest, Jeff, definitely, in defence. For the life of me, he clearly doesn't fancy Trent. That it baffles me, and it makes no sense at all to somebody to try and tell me that Trent Alexander-Arnold should not be in that squad.
Do you think that Trent would get in most squads in world football?
I do, actually. I do. I genuinely do, Jeff, because I think he has got that quality. Clearly, his passing, set plays, everything. I just think you've got to take him. He doesn't fancy him defensively. I get that. I understand that. Then that's maybe when you go with a more defensive fullback. If you're playing a Brazil or an Argentina, whoever it may be, or you want to tighten up a little bit. But if you're needing, particularly in the opening games, Jeff, where you need people to open things up a little bit, I just think from a deeper area, Trent gives you something that I don't think any of the other fullbacks give you, to be brutally honest with you.
Well, Coisty, Carl Walker's going to be part of talkSPORT's World Cup coverage this summer. He agrees with you regarding Trent.
Yeah, I think if you to say a player that plays for Real Madrid doesn't get into the England fold, it's kind of unheard of. But for whatever reason, the manager's decided to go down the route that he's gone down. And you have to listen. He's managing us in the World Cup, and we have to trust him. And I feel that the more that we get behind the lads, the better it's going to be.
But it's another manager that's opted to kind of go elsewhere. Can you understand why that is?
No, not really, because I feel that we all talk about Trent and what Trent does, or what Trent doesn't do so well. But let's talk about what Trent does unbelievably well, and probably the best in the world in his position at right back.
That's my take.
Yeah, and I agree. It seems, I'm sure he hasn't been unconsidered, but nevertheless, it almost seems that way. And the defenders that we have picked, and this has been said before, so it's not original, but, so many of them are injury prone, Reece James, obviously, John Stones, Tino Livermenta's just come back from injury as well.
That'd be a concern, Jeff, definitely, because you might see the two you mentioned there. I really, really like them. I do. I like Stones, and I really like Reece James. I mean, Reece James come on. I think he came on at Anfield, and just looked a different class, a different level. But I think I'm right in saying John Stones has only some like 4 appearances since the start of the year, so that has to be a concern. As good as they are, and I think they're top class, it would be a concern, the injury, doubt and lack of game practice.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Lewis Hall must be devastated by the fact that he hasn't got into the...
I'll tell you the other one, Jeff. I mean, I think's a real stick out. Not so much where I agreed with, I think it was Craig, it was on air, I said, I can understand and I totally get Palmer and Foden not going, right? They are undoubtedly two tremendously talented players, but I don't think their form has warranted inclusion. And the thing that goes against them is probably the form of Morgan Rogers, who he really likes. Eze to probably a slightly lesser degree, Jeff. But the one that I think's got the biggest complaint in a lot is Gibbs White.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, I mentioned obviously Trent in that position, but the one that I think has got a big case in a forward area and can consider himself really, really unlucky would be Gibbs White.
Yeah. I completely agree. Actually, you know what, though, Coisty? I might have taken Cole Palmer, not to start, but just in case things are going badly, you know, he offers you something a little different.
He does.
Ivan Toney, is he just there to take a penalty?
Surprise. I mean, that's baffling. That I know that Justin Cochrane, the coach, obviously spoke very, very highly of him. I don't think Thomas Tuchel's been over there to see him, and I don't think the relationship was great. I know he was involved. I think he only played about 5 minutes in a couple of friendlies earlier on.
Yeah.
So that for me was the biggest surprise, probably more of a shock than a surprise, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I thought Watkins was always going to go, and deservedly so, because I think he probably, you know, Harry Kane aside, I think he's the one that would automatically, if anything happened to Harry, I think he would be the one that would probably start. I might have taken Welbeck, to be honest with you. I mean, Calvert-Lewin's form was a bit better, but Danny Welbeck might have been one I would have considered probably before Tony. But he did mention, as you correctly said, Jeff, he actually mentions in his explanation of his squad, you know, having players for different situations, and he did mention penalties. And we know, particularly the fella you mentioned there, Ivan Toney, has got a wonderful, wonderful record in penalties. So would that have come into Thomas Tuchel's thoughts? Yeah, obviously it would have.
Yeah, it was certainly a shock inclusion. There's no doubt about that. Plenty of reaction. Kessie, who's a Newcastle fan, says I'm biased, but no, Lewis Hall is absolutely mind-boggling. Kevin Nuri says Tuchel said he wanted a penalty-strong squad, and that's why Ivan Toney got the shout. Hasn't he seen Harry Maguire take a penalty? The one thing about Harry Maguire, by the way, again, you look if things are not going well late in the game, you know, Harry Maguire's got a goal in him. He's got a real aerial threat. I was surprised that Maguire wasn't in.
So was I, mate. And I'll tell you right now, I mean, I definitely thought he would have been in it. And I think, just as important, I think he earned his place in that squad. But it's an interesting one as well. I don't have a problem with Harry Maguire coming out and registering his disappointment. I don't see what the big deal is about that.
No.
I mean, I get Thomas Tuchel said he was surprised. Why would he be surprised that somebody been extremely... I didn't think he said anything that was disrespectful. All he said was he was extremely disappointed.
Yeah. Which is, completely understandable. But no Harry Maguire. For all of the players at the moment, by the way, as well, keep your heads down, carry on. Keep yourself fit, because inevitably, people pick up knocks and the such like in training or in the pre-tournament games, that sort of thing. You know?
That's how Ollie McBurney needs to keep himself right.
Keep yourself right, absolutely. So talkSPORT will be at the World Cup, and so could you be, thanks to Adidas. You and a mate could be in Dallas on June the 17th for England against Croatia. We're talking flights, hotels, spending money, tickets, and the official Trionda match ball all included. Head to talksportwin.com to enter and for full T's and C's. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarx Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarx.
We'll be hosting a talkSPORT Breakfast Awards ceremony. We'll be giving out our winners from this Premier League season. We'll give you all the big categories, one or two different ones of our own as well. Next up, though, it's all about Notts County, promoted yesterday thanks to a comprehensive victory over Salford City. Their boss Martin Patterson will join us next, and that was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With pay-as-you-go hire from Travis Perkins, you can get straight on with the job. Available nationwide at all hire branches.
my whistle.
Someone deal with it!
Not like that. Not like
We
that.
don't put the ball out. We never get it out of play. Ref, you've got to blow up. Don't foul.
There we go.
Yes! Come on! Come on, us! Come on! Come on! Get in there! We're in the Premier League, son! Come on! We've done it!
Well done, Jay.
We've done it! Get in! All you mugs that wanted us down! All you mugs wanted us down! We've done it! Come on!
Well done. Abs, well done. Jay, before you go, I know you're doing the phone show. Just tell us. I mean, relief, right? It looked like at one point, Jay, you weren't getting out of this. How much credit does De Zerbi deserve? Because he's come in, and I can see how emotional you are. But this could have been a disaster, couldn't it?
No, it could have been an absolute disaster. Tottenham can't be in the Championship, right? We cannot be in the Championship. It's been a disaster season. So much has gone wrong. Deadwood all over the park. We have got to just completely change everything. Get rid of the Deadwood. Get rid of all these players who have been absolutely garbage. We've got the man in charge, Roberto De Zerbi. He is a top manager. Roberto De Zerbi will do things at this football club. Just let him have the reins and let him get on. But he's got to get rid of Richarlison, Moani, all of them. Get rid of them. They're crap. They're absolutely crap. And we find a way to do it. And I have to say a massive thanks to Aston Villa for not turning up on that day and gifting us 3 points. Because that's the one that kept us up.
Forever.
Come on, the Spurs! Come on!
Jay, is there... I know the players are starting the place out for most of the season, but these lads here in the last 6 to 8 weeks, when they've needed to, they've also shown a little bit of fight, haven't they?
Yeah, some of them. Some of them. Some of them.
The reason we've stayed up is because of De Zerbi, not because of them. I couldn't...
Right.
Honestly, could you care less if you ever saw any of them ever again?
No, I don't care. I would have a fire sale. Fire sale.
Yeah.
The whole squad. Anyone who wants out, gone. Get rid.
Yeah.
Don't want to see any of them.
But again, Jay, this comes from upstairs now.
Oh, he's got to go as well. Joanne Lange, get rid of him. The first thing they should do after a full-time whistle is sack him.
Announce him.
Sack him.
Announce Vinay. Get rid of them. They should be first thing done tomorrow morning. Come on, son. Come on.
Jay, how many receipts have you got to give? How many receipts have you got in the back pocket?
Oh, I've got a few, mate. But you know what? It's embarrassing.
Yeah, you can't celebrate too much.
You want to celebrate, but
it's relief, isn't it?
It's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. 8:50 Tuesday, May the 26th. Alan has texted, he said, not Hanoi, but I'm listening in Harare in Zimbabwe. Heading into winter on this side of the world. Nice 18 degrees sunny day today. Right, the oldest football league club, Notts County, are back in League One.
Here we go. Well, here's Yatta in behind for a moment. And he's given County the lead. Simple ball over the top. And Alassane Jatta just got in between two defenders down the left-hand side of the area and stroked it coolly past Matt Young into the bottom corner.
Well, he might be baking hot, but that's an ice-cold finish from Alessandro Jatta. Wow.
It's drilled to the right-hand corner of the box. McDonald helps it across the face of goal. Up go the heads. Ness makes it 2-0. What a towering header from Lucas Yes! To put County in control!
That is a towering header of epic proportions.
Grant is away for Notts County and just come on. Plays the ball into the area. Jody Jones running on to it! That's it! League One, here they come! Notts County have sealed it!
The game he's had, Jody Jones, he was never, ever missing that opportunity.
Eyes on the referee, who blows the full-time whistle, and Notts County, the oldest professional club in the world, have done it and got back to the third tier of English football.
3-0 winners over Salford yesterday. Notts County back in the third tier of English football, the highest they've been since 2015. Joining us now, the county manager, Martin Patterson. Morning, Martin.
Martin, good morning. Congratulations.
Good morning, chaps. Thank you very much.
Oh, you sound a bit croaky, mate.
You sound like me at 6 o'clock this morning, mate. Good on you.
Good lad. I hope you had an enjoyable celebration.
Yeah, we did, and I'm actually teetotal, but I suppose the sugar from. I suppose it's the sugar from the iron brews. I had about 15.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Look, it's your first managerial job, 18 months in. You've not done too badly, have you?
No. I'm 18 months in, but I'm very conscious of it. So, I'm this week building up to the Wembley game, I spoke to a lot of my mentors, a lot of people that have been there, done it and got the T-shirts and accumulated all the knowledge and the golden nuggets that I could possibly get, and that really helped me. But then, regardless of it being 18 months into my career, I said all along that I just had a quiet confidence, and it was one of just being quiet confidence, not overconfidence. But I knew that I had a good team. I knew that we were organised, and I have to say sometimes your players just perform on some days and some days they don't, and my players were fantastic.
I tell you, Martin, you're talking about players performing. I mean, I watched the highlights of the game, and we talk about playing football, short passing and all that stuff. But what about the pass for your opening goal, man? It was a sensational ball, was it not?
Yeah, you're right, Ali. And what we've worked on here is the club has had a DNA, coming up through the National League of being possession-based. But what I've tried to add into this group is playing what the game gives you and having the humility to do that. So if it's on to pass, great, find a shirt. But if they do come on a full court press and deny you those short passes, there's absolutely no problem, to leave the ball in behind and let a really fast centre forward run onto it and score a goal. And I thought the lads got their decision making absolutely spot on.
Yeah, and look, I mean, sometimes it's unfair to single out people, but I'm going to mention Jody Jones just the same, Martin, because, man of the match, this is a boy who's had 3 ACL injuries. What a reward for perseverance.
Yeah, Jody's had a special day, hasn't he? And, the accumulation of all the hard work and the ups and downs of this industry. And if you work hard and stay true to yourself and consistent with your work, sometimes it pays you back. And Jody's had some really tough injuries, but he's just kept going. And he is at this level. When he's fully fit, he's a problem for anybody. And big players sometimes step up, regardless of the levels. Big players step up, and he really did step up.
Martin, what about your squad? You mentioned hard work there. I mean, I would imagine the hard work starts now. Looking forward to next season. What about your squad? Will you be looking to strengthen?
Yeah, we my owners are people that are always looking to strengthen. We obviously are quite unique in this level where it is all heavily reliant on data and their model. But no, we've already started soft conversations, and it was really strange, Ali and Jeff. I didn't really entertain any conversations about recruitment in the last couple of weeks because I respected Chesterfield and Salford so much that I knew that I had to just focus on this game because there's no point having conversations if you ain't going to be there.
Yeah. And look, I mean, a word for the fans as well, Martin, because you took more than 20,000 there, which tells you that maybe you're back where the club belongs to be.
Yeah, it's you know, like you say, it's the oldest professional football club, a club that's probably been at levels it shouldn't have been, but football owes you nothing. So it's took a lot of hard work for us to get there. And I have to say the supporters with me and this group, they've backed us all the way and shown up in their numbers all season long. And then at the end, they bring 20,000 to Wembley. But I have to say also, we have to have enough about us as a football club to, I'm trying to find the right words, to have a professional empathy with Salford and
Martin, you're just breaking up. We're just losing you, mate, so can't quite hear you there. But look, congratulations. Thank you for keeping the dream alive for fans of all National League teams as well, who can look at what you've achieved, and others as well. And big games for you next season: Leicester City, Sheffield Wednesday, all of that sort of thing. It's great. I think Martin was just mentioning there, as we lost the line, about Salford City, by the way. You know, Carl Robinson was really magnanimous in defeat as well. You know, he pulled no punches as far as his own side are concerned. He said, look, every Notts County player was at least 8 out of 10. Our players were 4 or 5 out of 10, and they thoroughly deserved to win on the day.
Well, he doesn't get it wrong very often, does he? He calls it spot on, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely called it spot on. And you know what? I think Notts County will do well in League One next season. I think they'll do well. They've got, as you heard there, massive following. You know, and owners that back them as well. I think they'll do really well. Our thanks to the Notts County manager, Martin Patterson. Coming up, Ally McCoist has probably watched more football matches than anyone else in this UK season. What do you mean, probably? 100% certain. He'll be giving his Premier League awards out next. Let's get back to some calls. Go to Darren. He's a Spurs fan. All right, Daz?
All right, Daz.
Hi.
How are you, Daz?
Relieved. I'm not celebrating like some of the fans that have come on from Spurs. I think they're ridiculous. The only thing I did when the whistle went, I turned to my mates who I go with every time, and we said we're relieved, and we walked out the stadium because we just had enough. And the way fans are behaving, and calling out Chelsea, that's ridiculous. We finished 17th. They finished 10th.
They won nothing.
Hang on a minute.
They won nothing, though.
So did we.
Yeah, exactly.
We won nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, but we're a disgrace, and so are they.
Yeah, but we are more of a disgrace. And the way Tottenham fans are behaving is ridiculous.
I agree with him.
Well, you will agree with him.
No, you're speaking. He's the first one that's phoned up talking any sense.
Dazza, it's a shocking season, but it's over. It's over. Season's over. We're up. Cheer up.
It's over. It's embarrassment. What do you think people like Glenn Hoddle look when they look at that side?
I know. Well, they've got to sort it out, haven't they?
Legends of the club.
Well, they've got to sort it out, though, Daz, haven't they? Got to start again.
Yeah, they've got to sort it out, but there's no good when fans are turning around like we've won a cup. It's ridiculous.
The stayed-up trophy.
Good trophy, that, though, Daz.
The inaugural. Well done.
Mate, it's good trophy, that. The staying-up cup.
Yeah, it should be a toilet bowl. It should be a toilet bowl because that's what it was. It was toilet. It was. They should have stayed in the toilet where most of those players came from.
Holding up a toilet. Silver toilet.
That's a good trophy, that.
Holding that up.
I want to get a picture of that.
Yeah. Someone will AI that.
Staying up trophy.
Someone will AI that and send it to us, mate.
Yeah. It's unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
Listen, Daz, enjoy it, mate. It's up. It's over. We can all relax now. Got the World Cup coming up.
He's the only one under a rock.
Just relax.
The only one. Only one that's got any. Only one that's got anything about him. Only Spurs fan today.
Aguero, Solskjaer, Deeney, Watkins. Sure, you know all about those last-minute goals, but
But have you heard the one about the on-loan goalkeeper who saved his temporary employers from disappearing out the Football League and into almost certain financial oblivion? Back in 1999, Carlisle United, managed by Nigel Pearson, were fighting to stay in the Football League. Carlisle's finances were precarious with a capital P that season, leading to a scenario where, with 3 games to go, they had to ask the FA to sanction an emergency loan deal to bring in a goalkeeper. Swindon Town's Jimmy Glass arrived at the club. His efforts in his first 2 games earned the Cumbrians 2 draws. Those vital points meant that Carlisle went into their final game of the Division 3 season, now League 2, needing to beat mid-table Plymouth Argyle in front of their own fans and hope their relegation rival Scarborough didn't win against Peterborough at home. The game at the McCain Stadium finished 1-1, and with the same scoreline at Brunton Park deep into injury time, Scarborough's fans invaded the pitch en masse, believing their Football League status was secure, convinced they'd done enough to stay up. However, there'd be one more plot twist. Carlisle won a corner in the dying seconds, and up came Jimmy Glass. In one of those you couldn't make it up moments, Glass scored from a rebounded header and was promptly swamped by teammates and thousands of fans who quite simply couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed. As for Jimmy Glass, he became an overnight celebrity, but he never played for Carlisle again, and his playing career never really kicked on after that defining moment. He took on various jobs outside of football before finding his way back into the sport as player liaison officer at Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, and most recently the general manager at non-league Wimborne. Not the fairy tale ending to one of the most Hollywood moments in football, but the name Jimmy Glass will live on forever as the scorer of that goal, arguably the most important in any club's history.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Buy a used car and get a free 2-year service plan plus an extra £500 when you part exchange. Shop the upgrade event today. Still to come before 10, Alexander Usyk retained his world heavyweight titles on Saturday with a controversial stoppage. We'll be joined by British heavyweight, the Romford Bull, Johnny Fisher. We'll have Love Island star turned TV presenter Chris Hughes joining the show after his beloved Sunderland secured Europa League football, and we'll finish with a favourite in Ask Ali. But right now it's time for our Premier League end of season awards.
He got Sunderland 7th. It has to be Regis LeBroux. No shout out Keith Andrews, been brilliant. Shout out Unai Emery, but Regis LeBroux.
Touched in by Ryan! Ryan arrives to rescue Bournemouth!
Alexander Isak confirmed as a Liverpool player.
Rice coming forward, right-footed effort, oh, and he's in! Manchester City have completed the signing of Antoine Semenyo. Bruno Fernandes with another wonderful assist. Champions of the Premier League, Mikel Arteta and the Red Heart of North London can pop open the champagne corks.
Right, Coisty.
Right, here we go.
We have got this one.
Player of the season.
So, player of the season, Coisty, what are you thinking?
It's a tough one. Player of the season, but there's been some great performances. Declan Rice who come into the equation, Gabriel, Thiago Brentford has had a wonderful season. Yeah, O'Reilly at City, tremendous season. And Semenyo with both clubs, he's been brilliant. But I'm giving it to Bruno Fernandes, mate. I really am. I just think he's been absolutely outstanding in a Manchester United team that a lot of people didn't finish with. Would think would finish in Champions League places.
No, a lot of people didn't, did they? I've got Roy Keane on the line. Let's have a word with you, Coisty.
Well, the reason I'm doing it, because I'm quite confident that I won't be seeing Roy for at least 2 weeks till we go over to the World Cup.
Yeah.
And it might have cooled down by then. I think he's been brilliant, though. I've got to say to you. I really do. I think his contributions, yes, there's some things that probably irritate you a little bit with the hand gestures and all that kind of stuff. But come on, he has led. I think he's led from the front with his goals, his assists, the way he's played. And I think, in a season where you could have one or two candidates, I just think he shades it for me, Jeff. I do.
Yeah. And he does for me as well, Coisty. I've got Bruno Fernandes down as well as assists, his goals. And yeah, you see his frustrations during games, but that's because he wants so much to do well.
Yeah.
So Bruno Fernandes for both of us as player of the season. Next up, it's this.
Manager of the season.
Manager of the season, then, I'm going to go first this time. But,
you go.
I mean, there are a couple of obvious ones, aren't they, to be contenders. Andone Iraola, who's done an incredible job job at Bournemouth. Regis Lebris, not just keeping Sunderland up, but getting them into Europe as well. Phenomenal. Unai Emery, top four with Aston Villa, despite the restrictions, and winning the Europa League again. But for me, it is the man who's masterminded the Premier League winners' season, and that's Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
At Arsenal, they have a lot of 1-0s in there. A lot of critics saying, too many of the goals have come from set plays. But he's done it. He's won it. And that is all that matters at the end of the day. So for me, Arteta, manager of the season. What about you, Ali?
I'm a little bit concerned because I'm agreeing with you totally. I mean, in a season where Keith Andrews, magnificent.
Yeah.
Absolutely magnificent. You mentioned Unai Emery. Iraola was absolutely tremendous. Reggie Lebris, we spoke about. What a job at Sunderland. Absolutely remarkable. However, Jeff, we're talking about a man here, was it 3 second places, question marks, serious question marks towards the end of the campaign to see they were getting tagged with that, and I hate the term bottlers, I hate it, but the question mark, could they get themselves over the line? They have got themselves over the line, Jeff, and not only that, they've got an opportunity at the weekend to have an absolutely unbelievable season. Will they do it? I don't think they will, because I just think PSG are a level above anything I've seen. But Arsenal will give PSG problems that a lot of teams won't give PSG. So they're not without a chance. Yeah. And that's why I give it to Arteta.
Right. We better get a rattle on. We'll never get through these. Right now it's time for this one.
Unsung hero of the season.
So, Coisty, who's your unsung hero? I doubt we'll agree on this one.
Well, we might, I'm going for a man. I think he was injured towards the end of the season. I'm throwing Dan Ballard into the equation. I really am. I think he's been absolutely tremendous. He kind of, epitomises everything that's good about the Weirsiders, the spirit that he showed. He's had an absolute tremendous season. Absolutely magnificent. I'm so pleased for Sunderland. Honourable mentions. Welbeck again. There's been some good performances. Krupi Jr. would come into the equation as well. But Dan Ballard, mate.
Okay, mate. Ethan Ampadu for me at Leeds.
Yeah.
40 appearances this season. He's 25. A leader on the field and a big contributor to a good season for Leeds United.
Couldn't argue.
Next award is for this.
Future star.
Future star, right. I'm going to go for a man who was overlooked for quite a long time at the club he's at. Couldn't get a start. They bought in big money signing after big money signing. I'm going to go for Will Osula at Newcastle United. He's quick. He's got 5 in his last 7. He's only 22, and I think he can go on to even better things. What about you, Ali?
I'm going for Rio Ngamoa. I really am. I mentioned Crippy Jr., Archie Gray's a good, and Max Dowman would come into the equation, Alex Scott down the road. But I just think Ngamoa, he'll definitely get a lot more. I thought he should have had more game time. I think he's direct. I think he's positive. I think he's great on the eye. And I think with a bit of freedom now, Salah's away, he'll get a lot more game time.
Yeah, I've got no question about that. And he's certainly one for the future. That is for sure. So for our next award, we've got this.
Best signing.
OK, Costa, your turn to go first. Best signing.
Some great signings, by the way. Cherky towards the end, Semenyo, different class. And Mbeumo at United, I think, has been... I mentioned it before, Jeff. You look at signings, and Mbeumo and Cunha in particular just look as though they can handle Old Trafford. They can handle Manchester United. But I'll still stick with Granit Xhaka. I think, particularly early on in the season, brilliant signing. And I don't think you have too many complaints for that.
And I've gone for Granit Xhaka as well. £13 million, 34 Premier League appearances. Just the 1 goal, half a dozen assists, but a leader on the field. Look, he created 34 goal-scoring chances as well. It's a brilliant piece of business. Brilliant piece of business by Sunderland. OK, let's end on this one.
Worst signing.
Worst signing. Well, there are a few contenders here, aren't they? Some of them, I'm sorry to say, at Stamford Bridge.
Yep.
It hasn't worked out for Liam Delap. It hasn't worked out for Jimmy Gittins. You know what? I think there's more to come from both of those two, so I wouldn't write them off by any means. Hasn't worked out for Alejandro Garnacho either.
Correct.
But for me, just because of the hoo-ha beforehand and the humongous £125 million price tag, I'm afraid the worst signing, as it is now, for me, goes down as Alexander Isak. 3 goals and 1 assist. You don't get much for your $125 million, do you?
Well, that's not for debate, mate. We're agreeing again. The whole, as you say, the whole hoo-ha, which, it got to the stage, it was boring everybody to tears. But obviously injuries haven't helped. I get that. Price tag. You talk about the pressure on Arne Slot next season. There is so much pressure on Isak to attempt to pay back some of that fee, Jeff. It's been a disaster.
Yeah, it has so far. That is for sure. You wonder whether they'll supplement their strike force next season, don't you? But, well, look, those are our season's awards. Why is David Raya not in the conversation for Player of the Year, says
he was.
Kevin Mason. But of course he would be. He's had a phenomenal season. Golden Gloves once again as well. But, you've got to pick on it. For me, Bruno Fernandes just catches... I like watching him play, Coisty, do you?
Yeah. I do. I really do. Because he's comfortable on the ball. He's super intelligent, by the way. Some of his passes, his vision. Yeah, it's absolutely well. It's been, obviously pretty obvious with the amount of assists he's had, but he just sees it. I just think he's great to watch.
Yeah, completely agree. Coming up after Usyk's unconvincing win on Saturday night, where does that leave the heavyweight division of boxing? We'll discuss that next with Johnny Fisher.
About 2-3 players, right? And I get that Spurs miss out.
But that's the track record.
There's plenty of players out there
over the many years.
Not lads from Middlesbrough who come off the bench in the playoff final. Like,
well, he was injured. He's been the best player in the Championship this season.
Yeah, I don't want to sign Championship players. Spurs don't need to sign Championship players. We've got Championship players. They've shown that. We've got Championship players.
Do you? I understand what you're saying. Hayden Hackney, I think, would be a good signing. He's been brilliant this season. But I understand what you're saying about actually you need to aim bigger than that on top of the Hayden Hackneys and that. But do you trust? Do you trust the owners enough?
No, I don't trust the owners.
I don't think it's down to the owners anymore. I think De Zerbi's got full control. I think he will be the one who's picking the players.
They still got to dip their hand in the pockets. Well, they've got to okay it. They've got to sign off the contracts.
When they got rid of Daniel Levy, saying that they're going to spend money.
But that's my point.
Everyone was going to change the narrative, and it was sporting success that they were.
And then what happened in January? They went and sold. They went and sold Brennan Johnson for 30 mil. Brought in Conor Gallagher for 30 mil.
Net zero spend.
Well, it was net 12 with Sousa as well, but. You know,
first team.
Exactly. My point is, and that's my point. So summer coming up. This is Tottenham Hotspur, and you can't get the Champions League players. It's not going to happen. But you can still attract with those big wages.
It's about
Alex Scott. They're the type of player.
Well, he came from the Championship.
Yeah, I know, but he's been in Bournemouth and he's top.
No, but they bought him from the Championship.
Yeah, Semenyo, he's been playing in the Premier League.
Semenyo came. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you can be clever with your recruitment. Antoine Semenyo came from the Championship. Adam Wharton.
No, but the point
is about to win a European final.
Now.
Why not?
Because I don't want them. We've got to sign the Premier League players who are playing in the Premier League who have been top draw.
The point, no.
Championship.
I think you're being a snob.
The point Jamie is making,
upgrading the squad now from where it is. They've had those middle-ranking signings. They need polish to make them get over the line and pull them out of the situation they're in. Here's a question for you.
Michael Elise's done all right coming out of the Championship.
Go back to.
Who did he go to? Went to Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
and then went to Bayern Munich. A very good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. It's 19 minutes past 9, Tuesday, May the 26th. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with us live in Glasgow. News we're waking up to this morning, Liverpool, we understand, will block Alisson's exit from the club this summer. The goalkeeper has been unhappy, apparently. Liverpool's U-turn after being offered a 3-year deal with Juventus. I think Liverpool want him to stay on for at least one more season. Ali, from the club's perspective, is that the right decision?
Yes. Yes, for the club's decision it is, no doubt about it. Particularly, we've already mentioned the pressure on Liverpool and Arne Slot to start the season well, Jeff. They're losing a couple of real superstars in Robertson and Saha. So you don't want to be losing a real asset in particularly in a position that's as important as the one we're speaking about. Alisson could be disappointed, but I get it. I understand that totally. But from Liverpool's point of view and Arne Slot's point of view, your priority is the club and the team, and I understand it totally.
Yeah, and gives Mamardashvili another year as well, where he can come into the side on occasions and become more accustomed to football in this country, I think. And I'm sure most Liverpool fans, I think 90% of Liverpool fans, would be very happy to see Alisson staying for another season, even if the player himself isn't particularly happy at it. Let's move on to boxing, because Alexander Usyk retained his world heavyweight titles in Egypt on Saturday, But what a controversial win it was. An 11th round stoppage, the last second of the 11th round, by the way, against a man having only his second professional boxing bout, Rico Verhoeven. He's a kickboxer. A lot of questions being asked of the fight after many deemed it was stopped at a ridiculous time. talkSPORT boxing pundit Spencer Oliver believes Usyk was very fortunate to get the victory.
It took us all by surprise. Look, I thought that Verhoeven might start quite well. He's got a very unpredictable style, and he said that that was going to cause Alexander Usyk the problems, and it did. But Usyk's great at figuring out that puzzle. You know, we've seen it in the past with all the fighters that he's boxed and beaten, the top flight heavyweights. And he just couldn't figure this puzzle out. And I think that Verhoeven started very well behind the jab. His aggression was very good and very effective. Usyk couldn't work it out. He come back a little bit in the middle rounds. And going into the 10th round, I had the fight all level. It was all to play for, all to fight for. It could have been all level, or Verhoeven could have been in front. But at no point did I have Alexander Usyk up in the fight.
Pleased to say, joining us now to give us his take on that and whether he thinks it was stopped too early. It's a very good morning to British heavyweight Big Johnny Fisher. Morning, Johnny.
Morning, Johnny. How you doing?
Hello, Jeff. Hello, Ali. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, look, it's a pleasure, mate. Look, I mean, stopped 1 second before the end of the 11th. What the heck's going on?
Well, I saw actually what Peter Fury, Verhoeven's coach, said about this yesterday, and he said the ref made a genuine mistake. He didn't hear the bell. Peter Fury said he didn't hear the bell. But what a time to not hear the bell in one of the highest stakes fights ever. I mean, Alexander Usyk. What it tells me, though, is Usyk isn't the robot or the unbeatable figure that people have built him up to be in a way. I mean, Dubois given Usyk some trouble in the past. Beterbiev as an amateur gave him some trouble in the past. And, I just think Verhoeven was someone Usyk couldn't work out. You think who's given Usyk trouble in the past as well? Derek Chisora, someone who didn't try and box Usyk, someone who had an unorthodox style. And Verhoeven was that. When he shaped up and started moving forward, I thought, this guy looks like he's not really boxed before, and he hasn't, because he's only had 2 fights. But that sort of over the front foot style he had, and he didn't shape up in a conventional way. And I thought, this is actually being effective against someone like Usyk. So he put up a fantastic fight, and he was leading, or at least level, going into that last round.
Johnny, tell me, do you think there was any way, shape or form that maybe Usyk underestimated his opponent a little bit, or are you perhaps of the opinion that maybe, like everybody, old Father Time is just catching up on him, or do you believe what you've mentioned there, there may be a little bit too much hype around him?
Well, the veterans of the sport always say it just catches up with you overnight, or it'll be one fight, or it'll be one performance which sort of, it starts slipping after that. So I really do hope that's not the case for Usyk, because what is he now, 38?
Yeah.
You can only rule at the top of that division for so long, and it is a young man's sport. We've seen some of the top guys coming through, the Dubois, the Wardleys, the Atumas. I just think he had an off night, and he's not the unbeatable force that I think a lot of people have tried to make him out to be. I think back to the first Fury fight, and that was an extremely close fight. He's obviously a generational talent, but everyone is beatable, and Verhoeven's proven it. On an off night, you can go and do it, and a kickboxing world champion's done it. Not one of the top heavyweight boxers in the world, but a kickboxing world champion. So that gives hope to everyone else in the division as well.
Yeah,
I mean, on your given night, you've got a chance to win.
Yeah, encourage him for the rest. But is a rematch on the cards?
I saw Frank Warren shut it down straight away. He said there will be no rematch there. But I think commercially and in terms of the viewing public, that's the fight that makes the most sense, and people want to see it again. And if I was Usyk, maybe I have that fight. I'll put the wrongs right in many people's eyes, and I retire and sail off into the sunset, because I'm a 40-year-old man at that point, and I've beat everyone, and I've even beat someone from a different discipline. And can I just add, I do think if it went into that last round, I do think Usyk would have stopped Verhoeven. I think he was out on his feet. It's just an unfortunate circumstance, and I do believe the ref that he missed the bell, and it's this bit of controversy, but we'll probably see it again, Jeff.
Well, there you are, Johnny. He did say, I think Usyk said he was looking for maybe another couple of fights before he retired, right? And I get all that. He wouldn't want to go one too many. Would that maybe give him a wee bit of, concern the way that fight went at the weekend in terms of his next fight, Johnny?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you've got some of the contenders coming up. You've got people like Filip Hrgovic, who's now back in the mix. You've got Guido Vianello's, other people, like even these top 15, top 20 heavyweight guys that aren't in the top 3, top 4, top 5. They will be looking at that, licking their lips a little bit. And even if he chose someone who was down in the 15th ranked or the 20th ranks, none of them are going to be easy fights. And the older you get, the harder it's going to get. So I think he's got to fight Rico again. I think that would be the most sensible thing. He's had a look at him now. He's had 11 rounds with him. And if anyone's got the tactical nous to make things right again, it would be Alexander Usyk.
What about you, Johnny? Massive 2026 coming up for you. What have you got in line?
I've been sparring a few times a week. I've been sparring with Guido Vianello in Rome. That was fantastic. I'm doing a bit of training in Paris at the minute. And I'm just getting ready for a big fight, hopefully August, September. I've been speaking to Eddie. He actually he rang me up the other day and gave me some exciting prospects that I can't talk about right now, but we're just negotiating our contracts and getting that already. And I want to fight back at the Copper Box in East London. That's that's my home. I've had some brilliant nights there, ups and downs, but that's where the Romford Army lives at the minute. And we've got fans all over the world, but when we pack that arena out in East London, it's always a special night. And I'm here for anyone and everyone, as long as they've got something that I want.
Brilliant, Johnny. Look, best of luck to you, mate.
Great to see you, mate. All the best.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Take care.
British heavyweight Johnny Fisher with us there. Yeah, big 2026 ahead for him. Coming up, we'll celebrate Sunderland as they're going on a European tour next season.
Lots of upheaval at your old club, West Ham United, as well. What's the first thing that they have to get right before the start of next season? Is it in the dugout?
No, it's players. I think recruitment's been the biggest reason why they've been relegated. I think it's obvious when you look at the squad in general, but certainly the signings from last summer, you think of the signings that certainly haven't worked. Fulkrug came and went, a player that was never suited to the way that West Ham play anyway. Mavropanos has got better, but wasn't very good. Todibo hasn't worked. Where are the midfield players? Again, you look at the squad list, they've got 3 midfield players really to choose from in terms of Premier League quality. So obviously the start of the season was terrible for them, and they've been a bit better. But when your manager looks to the starting 11, then looks to the bench, what are you able to bring on? It is the big difference with players coming back. Tottenham had players they could call upon that I think have still capable in the Premier League. I don't think West Ham have that.
Yeah. How did you feel as a former West Ham United player, learning, as Scott did this morning, that Jean-Claire Todibo pretty much refused to play in yesterday's game because of what happened at Newcastle?
I mean, if that's true, it's disgraceful. Of course it is. There's no way you shouldn't want to be part of saving the club from relegation. You could tell how angry he was. He blanked the manager at St James's Park when he was brought off. He was so poor in the game anyway. He should really have been looking inwardly at himself, not the fact it was him that was taken off. You just hope that sort of attitude. I don't think that's the norm. I think there is a harmonious dressing room because
they've been fighting together,
yes, they have,
haven't they?
Exactly.
Since they lost Paqueta in February.
You can question some of the manager's decisions in terms of the starting 11 and the system. Certainly at Newcastle, you can talk about maybe the odd really bad performance. You can't have a go at the players for a lack of effort and desire. Those that have been playing, I think I've very much seen that, and I thought that was going to be enough.
Boxing. It's a sport that makes multi-millionaires out of the world's best fighters. But it's not as flush with cash as you'd think. We all see how much the likes of Tyson Fury or Canelo Alvarez make every fight, but that's not the case for those just starting out, or those who aren't even at that level. For example, if you've just turned pro and don't have a promoter, you have to sell your own tickets, cover the cost of the venue yourself, and pay the taxman at the end of it. You might not even break even, but if you do, you're looking at 5 to 10 grand max. A mid-tier fighter might make more like 10 to 50 grand, but you still have to give up half of that in costs. So unless you're fighting for a world title, it's tough to make money. One potential way of doing it, though, is being a journeyman. Here's former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver explaining how that could work.
They want to fight every week, and they can be going in against the prospects, so they can demand good money, and they might be demanding like 5 grand, 10 grand for a 6-rounder or something, because they're going in with a prospect. He gets through that, the journeyman gets through that fight, and he can fight again next week.
I mean, even so, it's not much, and you're getting punched in the face for a job. It's only really at the top level, i.e. fighting for titles, where you're earning up to 6 figures and can afford a diamond chain or that Ferrari. So boxing isn't a sport that allows you to retire at 40 and live a life of luxury. Much like a lot of other sports and jobs in general, it takes an awful lot of luck quite early in your career to really make it worth your while.
Morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. It's the perfect time to upgrade your car. Get 2 years free servicing when you buy a used car in the upgrade event. Check it out online. Val says, guys, Tuchel needs to take a good look at himself. Selecting injury-prone defenders is not positive. John Stones started about 4 games this season instead of Harry Maguire. Come on, please. Omitting Trent, a goal threat, and his passing ability for Jed Spence is nonsense, and not finding a place for Gibbs White with his volume of goals is a joke. Does he really want to win the World Cup? Interesting story in Germany this morning in one of their big national newspapers, Bild. The sports editor has written that leaving out Palmer, Foden and Trent Alexander-Arnold is madness. He said it's the equivalent of the Germans leaving out Wirtz, Kimmich and Musiala from their squad. Interesting. If you're just waking up, we've been talking for a lot of the morning about the news that West Ham seem set to sack Nuno Espirito Santo following their relegation to the Championship. Let's take a quick call. Jordan's a West Ham fan. Morning, Jordan.
Morning, Jordan.
Morning, Ali. Morning, Jeff.
So what do you think? Would a change of manager be the right decision?
It's a tough one, to be fair. Like, I listened to some of the callers this morning, and they made some good points, you know, in terms of what Nuno's had to pick up in terms of taking over from Potter. But I think ultimately, a change of manager wouldn't be a bad thing. I think the common denominator in all of this really is the ownership. I know it comes back to a lot of that, and it's quite sometimes easy to blame the ownership. But they appoint the managers. And it's not just the manager that's the problem. It's the recruitment of the players, the amount of bad players that we've bought, especially in the tenure of Sullivan and Brady being at the club. We've not really had an out-and-out striker for years. So I think a massive overhaul is really needed at West Ham in the summer.
What do you think in terms of the overhaul itself, Jordan? I mean, clearly recruitment is vitally important. Who would you like to keep, mate? I think it's probably as vital you keep as much quality as you possibly can. And I know, finances will determine you might lose one or two, but who would you want to keep?
I think in an ideal world, like obviously we want to keep hold of Jarrod Bowen, But I also wouldn't blame him if he did want to move on. But he's obviously got a lot of ties, with the Dyer family and being settled with a family in East London, which might help us in terms of him remaining settled at the club. I think we need to keep hold of Souček as well. It's just whether a lot of those lads that are currently in the squad want to stay. Somerville we want to keep hold of. He's a terrific player. We bought him off of Leeds after being the best player in the Championship, but whether he's too good for the Championship now, that's another thing. But I think keeping Hermanson in goal would be a good thing as well for us. But I think ultimately it's just about who wants to stay, really. It's great saying who you want to stay, but I think a lot of the lads that are currently in that squad will want out in the summer.
Jordan, thanks very much for the call.
Thanks, Jordan.
Cheers.
Right, it's been quite a season back in the Premier League, hasn't it, for Sunderland? Not only did they survive, they reached European football for the first time in 53 years.
Wise men.
Sunderland 2, Chelsea 1, and for the first time ever via league position, European football will come to Sunderland.
And Regis Labrie has done an incredible job. What a story it has been at Sunderland. I cannot wait to start travelling around Europe.
He's nominated for manager of the season. I think he's got to be. To get the only promoted side into seventh into the Europa League in your first season.
When it came up on the board that European football was achieved, I got a little bit emotional. And it was brilliant. It was the most surreal moment for football club for a long, long time.
The 24th of May is a special date now for us and for the club.
Yeah, 7th place finish for Sunderland after completing the double over Chelsea. They did the double over Newcastle as well. They took points off all of the big boys in the Division 2. What a season it was. So they're playing Europa League football next year alongside the likes of AC Milan and Juventus, Bayer Leverkusen, Benfica, Marseille. It's not a bad old cast, is it? Regis Labrie, who masterminded promotion last year and has been in charge this year, of course, certainly one of the contenders for manager of the season. One man that I think will almost certainly reckon that Regis Labrie would win that award is TV presenter, former Love Island star, huge Sunderland fan, Chris Hughes. Morning, Chris.
Morning, Chris. How are you?
Morning, boys. Yeah, very well, very well. Ecstatic would be the word I'd go for, and you might be seeing plenty of Mackems in Milan next season. I think Newcastle Airport, boys, is going to be very busy. For the next
That's ironic, isn't it? You've got to borrow Newcastle's airport to fly abroad.
It's not just flying to Spain, though. It's Milan, it's France, it's all over, Jeff. So, I can't wait. What a season. Jubilation, really. I woke up Monday morning and I kind of had to check my phone just to make sure it was all real, but incredible season. What a campaign.
Who were your sort of players of the season then, Chris? I mean, I know there's plenty of choice.
Yeah, it kind of fluctuated as the season kind of progressed. You've got Alderete and Ballard start the season, I mean, top drawer, and it kind of stemmed from the back. Obviously, Roof's what a signing, but for me, the best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season. And then up to, up front, throughout the midfield, we've got plenty of class in there. And then Brian Brobby, I mean, genuinely a player which there wasn't a Premier League defender who could handle him on his day. I mean, he's so strong, and he's, just a credit to have at the football club. There was so much depth to our squad, and I think it was just incredible, really. I mean, we were the same price to be relegated, which Hull are right now to be relegated next season. So for us to finish 7th and get European football, I think when you put it into that kind of perspective, I mean, we're completely written off. And I'll say this now, and I mean this. I think it's the second biggest Premier League achievement behind Leicester winning the league.
I think it's amazing. I think it's brilliant. I'm so pleased, Chris. I've got to be honest with you. But my question to you would be this, and I did mention it to Jeff, as pleased as I am, and I'm thrilled, are they going to have to make even more signings? Because, listen, playing the European football, yes, brilliant. The Sunderland fans get an opportunity to go to Milan, Turin, wherever it may be. Fantastic. However, we have saw, particularly with Newcastle, how difficult it can be if you've not got the numbers to handle European football as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're signing players and spending money, which is obviously something we did, but they're signing the right players. I think there's been plenty of times where we've seen money spent and it's not been wise. But yeah, we will strengthen again. I think there's that there's that desire to do so now, which is hugely important. And like you just said there, I think we're all wise to the fact that you can have that hangover of getting European football and then struggling in the Premier League. But I think we've got to live in the moment and appreciate the fact that Sunderland are playing in Europe, and the first time in 53 years, since we won the 73 FA Cup. So that in itself is special, and I think I think there's many people who will, Newcastle fans included, will look at Sunderland and go, "Oh, yeah, but you're gonna have a hangover," and you got to live in that moment. And as Sunderland fans, we kind of, this is extremely special. I mean, the club had been through everything. One thing, I'm going to love, a great achievement for Arsenal win the Premier League, but I've seen so many of their fans on social media saying the heartbreak, the pain, that club, there's fans that they went through for 22 years. And I'm thinking, try back-to-back relegations to League One, try 4 seasons there and coming back up and then getting promoted, and then seeing some of the, seeing it all play out on Netflix for 2 seasons was never easy. But back-to-back relegations, scrambling around in League One, trying to get out of there, and then, a few years later from League One to Europa League football. And I mean, it's so special. Yeah, it was an emotional day that Sunday, really emotional.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, Chris, another 3 or 4 Granit Xhakas for 13 million, that would do, wouldn't it? What a signing,
mate. Of the season? Got to be signing the season, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what? One thing what frustrates me, and I'm not alone in saying this, radio broadcasting punditry-wise, Sunderland have had a lot of credit. On television punditry, I feel like we've not received much credit, even after the Europa League. I mean, I've not seen much said about Sunderland and not much respect given to what we've actually achieved there. But I mean, yes, some of the sides, I think Carragher and Neville had us down as Brentford as being the most overachieving club of this Premier League campaign, which, yes, I understand, the money that they were dealing with, and they've had a fantastic campaign. But for Sunderland to do it the way we did and to be, rock solid favourites for relegation, and to do that, I mean, I think we're possibly the most achieving club last season in the whole of the English football.
It was brilliant, Chris. And I'll tell you what, next season, finish 14th, 15th, 16th, and have a European campaign. That's what it's all about. Look, while you're with us, Chris, tell us about the research into adults spending more than 2 hours a day on their phones, which I'm probably guilty of, to be honest.
But by the way, before you do, Chris, I'm unbelievably guilty of it myself, and it has to change.
Yeah, for sure. Look, we all need our phones for one reason or another, and it's not a bad thing that we spend so much time scrolling on our phones, but at times you've got to realise how much we're doing that and how much the impact that has. I know all of us here, all 3 of us here, as many others are, we care about our mental health. We're advocates for mental health. I do a lot of work with the charity Calm, and there's an amazing campaign I'm doing on Thursday. It's called a Joy Stroll with Pure Gym. It's a great initiative. It's basically getting people off their phones and going for a walk. And it's around your thumb. This is the amazing stat. My friend couldn't believe this when I told him. Your thumb travels, scrolling on your phone, on average around 2.8 kilometres a week. So if we're going on a 2.8 kilometre joy stroll this Thursday in Manchester, Whitworth Park, 12 till 4 p.m. So come down and join. If you want to get a free ticket, go on Eventbrite, sign up there, and it's going to be a fun stroll. And it's just basically reminding people to reconnect with life, get out in the fresh air. I play loads of golf, and I think it's important that, being aware of how much just getting outside, putting the phone down and having a walk around does for not just for your health, but for your mental health, and being at one with kind of nature. And if anybody's in the Manchester area on Thursday wants to come and join us, please do so. Head over to Eventbrite, search Pure Gym. You'll find the event free to do so. Loads of fun stations on the walk. There's some nice healthy smoothie stations. There's a bit of music as the walk goes on. There's people giving you compliments to boost your serotonin levels. And it's an incredible amount of time that we do spend on our phones. Like you just said, Ali, we all do it. Yeah. We're all subject to doing that. So it's nice, just a nice gentle reminder just to put it down for a little brief time during the week and getting outside.
Chris, it can be so liberating not to have your phone with you for a while. Thanks very much indeed for your time,
all
mate.
All the best, mate. Good to see you.
Pleasure, boys. Always a pleasure.
TV presenter, former Love Island star, Sunderland fan, Chris Hughes there. New season of Love Island starts on Monday.
You were tuned into that, Jeff, yeah?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I know you. Look, I can get all the highlights from you, Coisty. So. Coming up, we'll be asking Ali if there's any chance that Jarrod Bowen stays at West Ham this summer. That's next.
Just explain what the story is.
Well, basically, Romero's injured. He can't play. Now, Spurs obviously played the biggest game of the season on Sunday. River Plate are playing against his former team on the last day of the season as well. Both teams can win the league, all right? His former club, that one that he grew up with. I don't know I can't remember the name. Anyway, they kick off at 7 on Sunday. He's gone to Argentina to watch the game instead of Spurs against Everton. Now that for me, the club captain not there on the final day of the season. If that doesn't sum up Spurs right there, that is an absolute joke. Now, there might be an argument to say he's injured, he's gone out to Argentina to get treatment because of the World Cup.
I don't care.
No, I'm the same. The club captain has to be at the final game of the season. Why is the club captain not at the final day of the season? He's going to watch River Plate. That is outrageous. Outrageous. Yeah. That is a sackable offence. Yeah, and whoever's allowed that to happen, whether it's come from the top or Roberto De Zerbi, they should be ashamed of themselves. It sums up Tottenham in every aspect that is allowed to happen. Like, if he don't want to be there, fine. No, he won't want to be there.
No, it's not fine.
No, it's not fine.
That's not fine.
But no, I get that. But in terms of he don't want to be at the club, he wants out, right? Get that. But his teammates will want Romero around the dressing room. His teammates. The people that he's played around, the people that he's played alongside, he's been in the trenches with, and he's decided to go and watch River Plate on the last day of the season. It's disgusting.
No, I am absolutely. When Ryan told me this, I looked at him and had to gaze in his eyes. I said, "What are you talking about?" I'm thinking, what game is that day? Can he get back from Argentina? Why is he doing that anyway? No, he's going to miss one.
Yeah, they kick off 7:30 on Sunday.
Well, that is.
It's outrageous, mate. It's outrageous.
Maybe he knows what's happening. Maybe he knows you're going to play in Championship football, and he's thinking, do you know what, right? I know where we're going. I'd rather go and watch a decent...
That's not the point. That's not the point.
And Spurs.
That's not the point. You can't get away with that. You're the club captain. Club captain is not there on the final day of the season. That is...
It's disgusting.
It is so bad. So bad.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. It's Tuesday, May the 26th, 9:51. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Following on from Chris Hughes' chat there, Yusuf has messaged me, says, Jeff, I've got lots of walks. I have lots of walks with my phone. We enjoy it together. Well, get that, Yusuf. The idea is you've got to enjoy it without it. Just try it maybe once or twice. Now let's end with a bit of this.
Ask me. Back to McCoist! The goal's been coming, and it's supplied once again by Ally McCoist.
Chop. I just used to chop it back over the net.
Hi there, it's Sean Dyche here. You're listening to the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast Show.
Can't it be a bit AC/DC, man? But the football ground, it's... Pardon me.
I'm saying a mongoose. Yeah, but it's a mongoose-like creature. It might be the mongoose, in fact.
Marvellous! You've got no idea!
I used to be quite well respected in footballing circles.
So ask me.
Time to put some tough questions to Ally McCoist in Ask Ally. And the first one comes from a text. It's from Adam, the Arsenal fan. He says, morning, Jeff and Ally. He said, I don't understand why Thomas Frank's name isn't being mentioned for the West Ham job.
There you are.
What do you think, Ally?
There you go. I was talking to the gentleman in Istanbul. Had a nice wee 5-minute chat. I met him at the game. And that's the first thing you would say. What a gentleman he is. And I was just asking him, obviously, is he enjoying his break away from it? Which I think he probably was. But he was still obviously clearly be hungry to get back into it. Something, it's not something I thought about, but I wouldn't rule that out at all. I think he's a really talented manager, really talented coach. Like a long list recently, didn't get it right at Spurs. But I think he'll come back in. But I still stand by what I said. If I was West Ham, I would keep Nuno. And it looks as though that might not be the case from what we're hearing, Jeff.
Yeah. And from Thomas Frank's perspective, you wonder whether there's anything in the pipeline at Crystal Palace. Look, it's all going to unfold over the next few weeks, that's for sure. Let's stay with West Ham, though, Ali, because we mentioned Jared Bowen. A lot of speculation about Bowen's future. Darren Bent was speaking yesterday on what he thought Bowen should do.
He loves West Ham. He's the captain, isn't he? It's 1 year.
Yeah.
But I just think you look at some of the players that play on that right-hand side for England, all of them are younger than him. So he might be looking at it going, well, listen, I want to play for England, but realistically, where's my shot going to get in? Saka's young, Madueke's still young. Okay. What does he do?
I mean, Darren mentioned his age there. To me, that should be, in a way, a motivation for him to move, because he's probably still in the prime of his career right now, but he may not be for much longer.
Yes. No, you're right. What did Dan say was he 29? Is that my right?
He's 29,
He's 29. I tell you what I am with Jared Bowen. Another one, consider himself very unlucky not to get in the England squad. I mean, competition... in those kind of areas is fierce. We know that. Jeff, I think Jared Bowen could play at any level. I really do. And I think he could play in any team. And I also wouldn't have ruled out I'm taking that right-hand position at Liverpool that Salah's left. I think he either moves now or he doesn't move ever from West Ham. It's a hell of a decision that he's got, because you obviously all know his ties to the club, his family's ties to the area, the whole bit, everything about it. But from his own personal point of view, Jeff, and it'll mean a lot to him, I genuinely don't think the West Ham fans would grudge him moving and having a go at a bigger club that's obviously playing in the top flight and probably Europe. And B, just as importantly, I don't think he would want to think 10, 15 years down the line, I wonder what if.
It is a difficult balancing act, Coist, because he obviously loves it where he is.
Yes.
He's very comfortable. He's got very young children.
And that's the most important thing, Jeff.
Why would you uproot and take a chance on being a success elsewhere? It's a difficult decision.
We're talking about things here with his occupation, with his job. And effectively, that's what it is. It's his occupation. Yeah. It's his job. It's not the most important thing in his life.
Yeah.
The most important thing in his life will be, and always will be, his family. So he will take that into account when thinking about his next move within his occupation, and only he will know that. You know what I mean? But I mean, I think he's. I mentioned earlier, Jeff. He can play at any level.
Yeah,
he could.
And West Ham fans will love him if he stays, but they will respect him if he leaves.
Correct.
Just quickly, Coisty, next up, Scotland, Martin O'Neill, brilliant job this season at Celtic, doing the double for them. Do you think it would be the correct decision for Martin to stay in the dugout for Celtic next season?
Right, well, here we go. You asked me the question, do I think it would be the correct decision for Martin to stay in the dugout for Celtic next season? There's only one man that can answer that question. It's not me, and it's Martin, right? I'll answer it from Celtic's point of view. I would say yes, right? I really do. I think Celtic and Rangers are in desperate need of a rebuild, right? I think Martin, 10, 15 years ago, would have been the absolute perfect man for that rebuild. Only Martin knows now himself if he feels he can do it. Because I listened to him after the league was over, and he sounded tired, and he admitted he was tired, right? And understandably, after what he'd been through, he was tired. So, in answer to the question, Jeff, he's the only one that can answer that, because he knows how he's feeling. Can he be up for a fight for the next 3 or 4 years, or 2 or 3 years with a rebuild? But from Celtic's point of view, and a lot of Celtic supporters will disagree with me, they'll say they should go down the whether it's, you know, Robbie Keane, who's been brilliant, or even Craig Bellamy. They should go down a new, fresh look. The boy I thought they would have got as a way, Askew, the Motherwell manager, is a way to Toulouse. I thought they missed the boat there. And a lot of Celtic fans would clearly Martin and correctly will be held in such great esteem, but a lot of them think it's maybe time for a bit of freshness. Me, I think Martin will know that answer himself, but if I was Celtic, crikey, you'd want Martin in and around the club all day.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Correct.
Stick with what's been successful, assuming that Martin wants to carry on. Coisty, thank you very much indeed for today. We'll
Loved it, mate.
See you down in the studio tomorrow.
Will do, mate. Look forward to it.
Yeah, me too, mate. Don't forget, Drive is live at James Madison's golf day today. They'll be joined by the Spurs midfielder, as well as some other fantastic guests, so tune in for that from 4 o'clock. John, Ali and I again from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Of course, we'll be building up to a huge night for Crystal Palace. I'm off to practice my cheese rolling and extreme ironing. Up next, it's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Manny Petit.